but I know Shane Beamer said the same. He's like, this is his favorite. Like this is kind of what makes college football.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Iron Bowl has lost a little luster this year,
Mm-hmm.
but you still have Ohio State, Michigan. Although I wish that game was at a different time than South Carolina, Clemson. But that's a personal issue. Southern Cal, Notre Dame should be fun. There's high stakes there. I mean, there's always gonna be some drama with rivalry week, and it's awesome. A lot of games on today as well.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty big Friday slate.
Yeah,
so.
we're going to pick Tulane, Cincinnati. That kicks off in just under 3 hours now. The only thing that keeps this from being absolutely my favorite week of the college football season is it's so bittersweet knowing it's the last week of the regular season. That's always a little bit hard to stomach. It's like every time we get to the end of the season, I just can't believe how quickly the season's gone. And so I got that bittersweet feeling a little bit this morning.
Yeah, it absolutely flies by. Like we talk about football year round. Then you talk about spring practice. Then you talk about the countdown until the actual regular season. And then it gets here, and it's just I think because you're kind of going from team to team to team to team, and there's, especially when you're doing we're doing, there's like work involved in it as well. It just flies by, and next thing you know, it's over. And then you're like, if you're a fan out there, if you're lucky, you're like, wow, there's only one left because there's a bowl game. But yeah, it is very bittersweet. And then, that's what bragging rights are all about as well, in that you're going to have the bragging rights for all off season. And for South Carolina fans, it was a turn there from having them for 5 years in a row to not having
7
them.
now.
7, or I think it's 7 games, 8 years.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because there was
the interruption in the rivalry. Terrible. You are from Clemson territory, correct? More or less? Not as much as
really.
Chris? No?
No.
Okay. All right. Do you have Clemson family fans?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think everybody does.
So what was the vibe like yesterday at Thanksgiving?
Well, I didn't see my Clemson.
So they weren't invited?
No, my cousins, my uncle, my aunt, they're all diehard Clemson fans. So that's the people I grew up with, going to church, having Sunday dinner or Sunday lunch with. And it wasn't like brutal or anything. It was always in fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think everybody in this state has relatives that are on, either side of the rivalry. I feel like that is what makes it great.
Yeah.
And I think, Pearson, the fact that there is no NFL team, MLB, there's nothing else to kind of dilute it. I think if you're a sports fan in this state, I think it's a law. You have to pick a side at some point.
I was just interested to notice yesterday, because we're majority Carolina family, definitely some Clemson representation on both sides, and got to see both sides of the family yesterday. And the meme that I have seen on Twitter this week, that basically neither fan base is ready to start talking trash yet because neither team knows which version of their team is going to show up. I experienced a lot of that. Like it was very careful. Like the Clemson family members are like, how are you guys feeling? And we're like, I don't know. How are you guys feeling? And it's just
subdued a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, it was like I was talking to my Uncle John, for instance, last night, and he's like, what he said is, there's no way they can play that well 2 weeks in a row. I said, well, Uncle John, that sounds like you're scared. Like you're just having to talk yourself into it. It's for the rivalry to have been as lopsided as it has for the last 7 years. And considering, like, for most of the season, Carolina fans, I think, have been generally satisfied with the direction of the program. But, there was the Missouri loss. The Florida loss was an abject disaster. Like I think up until last week, if you would ask Carolina fans what the gap is between those two programs, or even now, like there's the acknowledgement that Clemson's still a national power, even if they're not really earnestly in the playoff mix right now. And Carolina's still a ways away from, being where they were at the height of the Spurrier era. And yet it feels like this game, I guess it feels like this game is closer than it should be based on where both of the programs are right now. And some of it might just be momentum.
Yeah, I think momentum is a big part of it. I don't want to speak for all Clemson fans, but maybe Uncle John is a little bit nervous about Spencer Rattler. Like I feel like I think he's the X factor in this. By the way, shout out to I've got an Uncle John as well. Shout out
Everyone's
to him.
got an Uncle John.
Yeah. But I think Rattler and what people saw from him last week, and like Uncle John said, you're not going to expect 6 touchdowns out of him this week.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he has to throw 6 touchdowns. I think he has to play very well. But that's something on our message boards on Gamecock Central as well, there's been people posting, oh, you can't expect this to happen 2 weeks in a row. Well, of course not. We talked about that 2 days ago, but can you potentially expect this offense to execute and build some momentum from last week? I think the confidence is a lot of it. And I think there is a blueprint, not necessarily from the exact plays. Like, plays are going to be, I think, opponent focused. You got to do what plays work against the opponent you're playing and what they like to do schematically and personnel wise. But I think there's a blueprint from sort of this idea of just the kind of the rhythm the offense was in, calling it, getting to the line of scrimmage and snapping the football, as opposed to the old, look to the sideline, change the play, all that stuff. And even maybe from some of the aggressiveness of throwing on first downs to maybe, I think that helps your offensive line. If you can throw on first downs and be successful doing it, you can maybe stay out of situations where you're not facing, third and longs.
The idea of momentum, or rather, like, continuing the rhythm. That was the word you used. I like that. The rhythm of the offense that was just, you haven't seen it in 2 years be like that for Carolina, like it was on Saturday against Tennessee. The idea of continuing the rhythm is, I feel like it's easier to carry that positive momentum, definitely, because, it's like, it's not replicable, like we keep saying, like we have hammered home all week, but it's not like Shane Beamer and Marcus Satterfield and Justin Stepp and all the offensive coaching staff. It's not like they're going to say, yeah, that was really good. Let's go back to what we did against Florida. Let's go back to check in with the sideline every single time. Let's run more of those plays, and let's reinflate the playbook. Like, there had to have been lessons learned from last week, and even if it wasn't replicable in terms of all the nearly flawless execution, the staff and the team had to have learned something about the best way for them to operate. And I think that should at least be able to carry over.
Yeah, and I think the confidence in which Spencer Rattler played is also potentially replicable because of those very things. I mean, I think he has been bogged down at times this year, is maybe the best way to say it. And I think he's very, very comfortable with what they're asking him to do right now. And it showed. And I think, I think we bring him up a lot, but Beckham, my buddy Mike, and, I think he had a good point in saying, sometimes guys need to play with a certain style. And I think Rattler came in and, we all talked about, how he's humbled with what happened at Oklahoma. And, he was kind of subdued a little bit into the, don't turn the football over. And this became a run first offense. It was about Marshawn Lloyd. It was about, hey, go be a game manager. And the interesting thing about that is sometimes when you are so focused on not turning the football over, you actually turn the football over more. And in some cases, as we talked about, it wasn't even his fault on some of the turnovers. But in a weird way, it's kind of like as he has gotten a little bit more confident and has taken a few more risks, he's had confidence in those risks, though. So the turnovers have gone way down. Obviously, the offensive output against Florida as a team was not good. But in the last few games, Colin Taylor had the stats on Gamecock Central. You can go read it. It's a free story, I think. But he has been really good overall the last few games if you just add up all of his stats. And I think it's like 9 touchdowns, no picks or something. So the turnover-worthy plays have gone down as well if you look at it from like an analytics standpoint. So, I really think that that's going to be a big key. Can he just keep that going? Can Carolina's receivers win one-on-one matchup situations, 50-50 situations, ball in the air situations? With Clemson's DBs, the way they did with Tennessee's, obviously a lot of those plays are the difference in, oh my gosh, here's another successful drive, explosive play versus, oh, it's 3rd and 8.
Right.
So
we'll talk more about a lot of those matchups, but that one in particular, I think, will of course be huge, and especially given that Clemson's secondary has struggled at times against some pass-happy offenses. One last thing on Spencer, and of course we'll open things up to you guys for Football Friday. Lots of your thoughts ahead of the rivalry game. We talked Wednesday about just how bracketing different parts of the season can give you a different perspective. Like if you say, yeah, this 3-game stretch, Missouri, Vanderbilt, and Florida is just atrocious, and Vanderbilt's not even that good, and now you say, well, this 3-game stretch of Vanderbilt, Florida, and Tennessee, that Florida game looks kind of like an outlier. But Spencer, counting the touchdowns on his fingers, saying post game in response to, or I guess that was on Tuesday, and Colin asked, well, what could you do better? Well, I don't know, I was just saying that. Like, that's the swaggering Spencer that I think some Carolina fans were nervous about getting. And then, like, in hindsight, I think all Carolina fans should have been hoping for. Like, you needed that swagger to the offense. You needed just that loose feel and that gunslinger mentality that made him. I mean, that not elite game managing ability was what made him such a highly touted prospect out of high school and so successful at Oklahoma.
Yeah, and let's be honest, this is a program that I think needed that. I mean, maybe if you go to a place where you have everything in place around you, like elite, and Carolina has pretty good talent on offense, but you go to a place that just has 5-star, maybe you get by with just a game manager type. But here, I think this is a program, and kind of what this program has been through, like needing to take that step forward. You need that guy who's going to just look in the face of the opponent and say, I'm better than you. And I think guys can feed off of that. If you sort of mute that a little bit or kind of subdue him a little bit, then I think that you're not getting the same guy. And we've sort of seen that. My favorite play was when he stiff-armed the Tennessee guy going out of the side on the sideline. Didn't just go out of bounds. Stiff arms him. Tennessee defender goes flying. And then again, I keep saying I would love to hear a mic'd up from some of the things that were being said, because I think Spencer stiff-armed him and then let him know about it as well. So there was definitely an extra level of swagger in this game. And you could just feel it as the game progressed. You're like, man, he is making throws. Not just making them, he's attempting throws we probably haven't seen him attempt this year. And the confidence just built from there.
803-404-6100. We'll have a lot more of our keys, our matchups. We'll have some picks a little bit later on in the show today. If you want to weigh in, have any thoughts before Clemson or just in general, rivalry weekend. A lot of interesting games. The Egg Bowl, interesting last night. We'll talk about that and what that means for Lane Kiffin's future at Ole Miss, potentially at Auburn. A lot more to get to on a busy Friday edition. And if you notice, we are on location out at Firehouse Subs. We've got some tickets to give away as well. Wes, what you got there?
I got stacks of tickets.
Yeah, that's a lot of tickets.
So we probably need to, let's see, we got some parking passes as well. We got women's basketball versus Hampton. That's 2 days from now on the 27th. We got women's basketball versus UCLA. That's pretty cool. 29th. And then we got men's basketball. We probably need to give these away pretty quickly because these are for today. There is a men's basketball game today against USC Upstate. We got free tickets and parking passes, which if you've been to CLA, that's valuable.
That can be the challenge. So we got lots of tickets to give away. Y'all can come see us here at Firehouse Subs. We are across from Circle K and Verizon on Garner's Ferry. We will be out here until noon. Come grab a sandwich. Nobody wants to cook. Nobody wants to clean today. Come grab a delicious Firehouse Sub. Share your thoughts on the Clemson game as well. 803-404-6100. Love Chevy phone line, text line. You can get both of us on Twitter at Pearson Fowler and at Wes Mitchell GC. The extra point will continue after this.
The Halftime Show with Jay Phillips and Terry Ford.
Noon to 3.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
This is Boomer Esiason with CBS Sports Minute. Sponsored by Big Green Egg. Shop online for free home delivery at BigGreenEgg.com. A hockey world mourns the loss of Björn Salming, a 16-year fixture on Toronto's blue line. The Swedish defenseman blazed the trail for European players in the NHL. The first Swede inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame, Salming was 71. Rest in peace, King. Rest in peace. I'm Boomer Esiason.
Hey, Jim Rome here. If you want to experience the unmatched flavor of natural live fire grilling, then look no further than the Big Green Egg. Forget the pellets, the propane, the knockoffs. Roll with the best. An authentic Big Green Egg grill backed by a free lifetime warranty. Yes, lifetime. It's that good. Grill, roast, smoke, or bake. It is easy to light. It's simple to use. Shop online for free home delivery at BigGreenEgg.com. That's delivery to your door by a dealer in your community. Go to BigGreenEgg.com.
Everyone can boost their digital confidence with NordVPN. All it takes is one simple click. NordVPN will block online trackers, hide your virtual location, and secure your devices from malware-infected files during downloads. It will also detect malicious websites. So catch the Black Friday deal for a 1 or 2 year plan at NordVPN.com and get 3 months for free. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
High school coverage on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
Just how does a car repair shop last in business for over 50 years like Suddeth Automotive? By providing affordable, reliable, and honest auto repair. But if you ask them, they'll tell you it's their loyal customers who come back time and time again to entrust them with their car repairs. Well-trained technicians, service packages, and monthly specials. Isn't it time you became a customer? Give them a call or come by at 1410 North Millwood Avenue or make an appointment at suddethauto.com.
With approved credit, call 888-411-7640 for details.
One dime down and you're driving during the bigger than Black Friday event at JT's Dodgeland. Up to $10,000 off new Rams. A $500 Amazon gift card with every vehicle purchase. When other dealers say no, JT says you're approved. Get 1.9, 0.9, even 0% financing. Savings to $10,000 on Chargers and Rams. Dodgeland on Greystone, jtsdodge.com. Black Friday sales event.
When you can't stop, there's Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub sends powerful medicated Vicks vapors right to the source of your... so you can experience cough relief and breathe easier. Generations of families have trusted Vicks VapoRub to help relieve the worst cold symptoms. So next time you have a cough, reach for the Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub. Cough relieving is believing.
This week at Staples, save 60% on...
Thanks for your business this year.
Save 60% on...
Happy holidays, Nana.
Save 60% on...
You are cordially invited.
Right now at Staples, you can save 60% on custom printed holiday cards and invitations. So you can say, thanks for a great year, happy holidays, or come on over, all for less. For everything you need printed this holiday, go to Staples, the working and learning store. In-store and online. Ends 12/3. Exclusions and restrictions apply.
You haven't tasted real Carolina barbecue until you've experienced Little Pig's Barbecue. Full-service dine-in buffet with barbecue ribs, brisket, chicken, rice, hash, tomato pie, macaroni and cheese, and many more of your favorites. Eat in or take out. Little Pig's Barbecue on Alpine Road is open from 11 to 2 on Wednesday, 11 to 8 Thursday through Saturday, and 11 to 3 on Sunday. Little Pig's Barbecue on Alpine Road. Little Pig's family looks forward to seeing you soon.
Your local radio stations are here for you. No subscriptions or monthly fees necessary. We're here to give you the news, weather, and traffic you need and the music you love. But if the foreign-owned record labels get their way, it could stop the music. They want Congress to force radio stations to pay them more money simply to play their music. Don't let radio go silent. Text LOCAL to 52886 and tell Congress to protect local radio stations. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Welcome back to the Extra Point, sponsored by Twin Peaks, the ultimate sports lodge, on 1075 The Game.
(9:22) Friday morning, and welcome back into the Extra Point. Pearson Fowler, Wes Mitchell here with you live from Firehouse Subs on Garner's Ferry. We will be out here until noon today, helping get you guys ready for the Carolina-Clemson game, a full rivalry weekend as well. We've got lots of tickets to give away, men's basketball tickets, women's basketball tickets. If you come by and see us, we'll just give them to you. That's like super easy. I know people out and about and doing some Black Friday shopping. You don't want to clean. You don't want to cook. You don't want to have to worry about any of that. You just have like 2 days probably nonstop of cooking and cleaning and dishes and all that stuff. Don't make a mess. Just come get a delicious sub. You don't have to worry about cooking it. Actually, so it was, we walk in here I walked in here at like, probably 8:30 today, and I can, already smell the fresh bread and everything they got going back there. So I guess it'll be a while before you can come actually eat a sandwich here, like for lunch. But they've already got it going, and it's already making me hungry, despite the fact that I just ate enough food to probably kill a small mammal the last couple of days. But anyway, out here at Firehouse Subs, come out and see us right across from Circle K and the Verizon store on Garner's Ferry. We will be out here all morning long talking about the Carolina-Clemson game, giving you tickets, It's a fun day. All right, so let's talk about Clemson. We've talked a lot about Carolina, what they need to do. We'll continue, of course, to talk about some of the key matchups for the Gamecocks, how replicable is the offensive performance, yada, yada, yada. But what do we make of Clemson? They are 10-1. That's very good. They're on the outside looking into the college football playoff. If they win the ACC championship and get some help, there is still a possibility. But this Clemson team seems to be lacking an edge. They've had some close games and games you don't necessarily expect. 2 overtimes against Wake Forest, needed a 17-point comeback in the fourth quarter against Syracuse, got blasted by Notre Dame. Outside of that, I guess maybe just with this Clemson team, you're looking for the marquee win or the thing that they do better than anybody else. The defense is still good, but it's not national championship winning Clemson defenses. Right now in the FBS, they're 18th in total defense, about 318 yards allowed per game. That's still excellent, but a spot ahead of Kentucky for reference, right behind Notre Dame, Pitt, Alabama, Wisconsin, Florida State. Like, they're good. They're very good. It doesn't feel like they're elite at anything this year, though.
Yeah, I think we grade Clemson a little bit on a curve compared to what they've become as a program. And, in a vacuum, they're like really, really, really good. But I think some of it tells you, it sort of illustrates how much the expectations at Clemson have changed. And I think, and again, this is certainly outside looking in. I don't cover Clemson. I don't follow them on the day-to-day, but it feels like, Pearson, they are a program kind of in a phase of transition. They obviously have a new offensive coordinator and a new defensive coordinator this year. And I think certainly both of those hires have been met from fans with a certain level of, a little bit of wait and see there. They didn't take the route of, let's go outside, let's go get the big name. And certainly they could have. This is a program that they have money to spend. They have the recent track record. They have the talent. They have the brand. You can go out and hire anybody you want within reason. And they said, no, we're going to go in-house. We're going to stay in-house. We're going to try to continue this moving forward, as far as I imagine the terminology, the verbiage you use, the just approach on offense and defense, with, I'm sure, some tweaks along the way. Well, I think what we're finding out right now is Clemson is kind of that program. Carolina fans have been looking for a little dent. Like they've been looking for an opening. They've been looking for a sign of life that Clemson could take a step back. And I think what we're seeing right now and what we're going to see the next couple of years is kind of the answer to that question. Is Clemson just slightly down? They've still only lost one game.
Right.
It's a silly conversation in a lot of ways. But there was a lot. I mean, they won 10 games last year, Pearson, and their fans complained the entire way through it. So I think we're kind of all waiting to see, is this just a little small blip, and then they're going to be right back in the college football playoff, within the next couple of years? Or have they, as a program, taken a slight step back? And the interesting thing about this in college football is you can be taking a step back and you don't know it until it's too late. And I'm not saying that's what's happening with Clemson at all. I'm just saying, as someone who was right there in the middle, watching it happen at South Carolina, the mistakes made in recruiting during the 11-2 seasons came to light during the seasons following that.
Yeah,
so,
it doesn't impact you that season or the next season. It's this information lag. And I remember, I guess, once Clemson made both of those hires, Preston and I were talking on this show, not saying this is the downfall, but will we look back in 3 years and feel like it was a missed opportunity to get some coordinators? You took a step back, and as everybody knows, like, it's hard to be good in college football, but the hardest thing to do is to go from good to great. Has Clemson already slid on the other side of great? And you're right. Like, they won 10 games last year. They're 10-1 right now. They are a 2-touchdown favorite to be 11-1, and then they're going to go play for an ACC championship. But their schedule hasn't been particularly tough this year, and you needed 2 overtimes to beat Wake, like we talked about. The Syracuse game that you needed to come from behind win. The Notre Dame game. Outside of that, your best win if you're Clemson is probably Florida State, maybe Louisville. And it's like, it's a good year for both of those programs, but neither one of those is moving the meter. So Clemson just doesn't have the opportunity, I think, to capture people's imagination. And again, to come back to it, like the defensive line's outstanding, like one of the best in the country. It doesn't feel like it's as good as it was a couple of years ago. The support in the back seven, like Clemson's secondary, has had a lot of questions. The offense has continued to struggle. DJU has had, I guess better moments in recent weeks, but overall still isn't very consistent. And, the running game when Will Shipley gets the workload seems to be pretty good, but it's not scary. It's just they're like the most meh elite program possible right now.
Well, and how much of that is the fact that you had elite quarterback play for 2 straight quarterbacks? And I mean, let's talk about how rare that is. Like, you get 2 generational quarterbacks in a row and think that you've signed a third in a row. As far as the rankings, you did.
And that first Notre Dame game 2 years ago where he, lit it up in South Bend, it looked like he was going to be the guy.
Yeah, he was outstanding in that game. And so I think, especially in college football, when you have good to great talent around you, but then you add in the dynamic of an elite quarterback. I mean, does Clemson beat Alabama for their second national title without Trevor Lawrence just being Trevor Lawrence in that game and having pretty elite receiver play on the outside as well? That's something else they have not had. Like, let's go back even before they got to the elite level at quarterback. They've had phenomenal wide receivers at Clemson, even before Deshaun Watson got there. I look at this receiving core, and the reason, if you're a Carolina fan, I think you can feel a little bit of hope, is that I don't think they're elite on the outside at receiver. And I think, as we've seen, Carolina has defensive backs that are really, really good. So does that mean you're going to be able to stop the run? Not necessarily, but does that give you some freedom to put all your resources towards stopping the run? Absolutely. I think it's a completely different offense than what we saw last week. However, maybe some similarities in what you would want to approach them mindset-wise, Carolina's defense against their offense. And something no Carolina fan wants to hear, but I hate to tell you, their best receiver may be, and probably is, Antonio Williams from right down the road at Dutch Fork.
It was a South Carolina lean for at least some of that process, it felt like. And I think that's not that there's anything wrong with having a stud freshman be the best guy for you. But I think and I guess I'm speaking for Clemson fans here, but I think the idea that there was no one else on your roster that was better than this freshman that just came in is a little bit troubling. We'll come back around to it, but we talked about, or I mentioned briefly, and we'll get more into the matchup of Carolina's receivers against Clemson's DBs, who have given up some yards at times. Carolina's DBs against Clemson's receivers. Like the Tennessee receiving corps is the best that Carolina will have seen this entire year. They might be one of the best receiving corps in the country, as well as Jalen Hyatt has played. Cedric Tillman, who's been banged up at times, did play, had a great touchdown catch in that game. Brew McCoy is a really good third option. I'm not going to say that it's going to be the opposite, but with fewer threats, I could see Carolina just playing Clemson's receivers straight up. But I wonder if it would almost make more sense to have Cam Smith follow around Antonio Williams like he did Jalen Hyatt, which is not something that Clayton White's asked him to do for most of the last 2 years. But do you do that? Trust the rest of the guys to go one-on-one and then feel a little more freedom to just stack the box.
Yeah, that is, this NCAA football veterans approach to this game. Not that I'm a defense coordinator by any means, but I would take the same plan personnel-wise into this game. And the thing that makes it
on both sides of the ball.
Well, yeah, but on defense, I think that the thing that makes it it makes it easy to follow Antonio around. And I'll pull up during the break. I'll pull up the PFF to see where Antonio has lined up. He is a slot guy, just like Jalen Hyatt. So it actually makes it very simple from how you're going to structure your defense to do it again. And the thing about Tennessee, they go so fast, their receivers line up at the same spot each time. So that makes it kind of simple to trail the same guy. For Carolina, all that meant was sliding Cam back to nickel, which he had a ton of reps this offseason playing nickel and started the first 2 games there. So it makes it very simple to do that. I was talking to Matt Connolly from the Clemson On 3 site, he said, A, Antonio Williams is their best wide receiver, and B, teams have really been hurt by their tight ends, kind of getting lost in the mix and making plays in the passing game. Well, I think if you do what they did last week, which is Darius Rush, Marcellus Dial on the outside, that puts Cam Smith at nickel, which is naturally going to be lined up over the slot. Well, what did they also do? They moved DQ Smith back to safety. 99 times out of 100, that means even Worry is actually your free safety. He's your last line of defense. DQ Smith is the guy that's going to be up in the box, which he's in run support, but also that means he's going to be matched up in one-on-one coverage a lot of times with your tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think for DQ, he can lean on all his experience this year being asked to play nickel, where he's being asked to man up with slot receivers all season long. So it's going to be a little bit bigger guy, bigger test just from size and height, width and height standpoint. However, he's used to having to play in coverage all season long. So I think that's your big picture approach. That's probably how you structure it. And then it'll be up to Clayton White and those guys from an actual play calling standpoint to see how they try to slow down this rushing attack. I went back and looked last year, man. It's such a weird box score. Clemson really did not have a great day offensively, but they beat South Carolina 30-0. The game was never in doubt.
Yeah.
Clemson scored on their very first drive with, I think, 2 chunk running plays, maybe more. Carolina turned the football over. Clemson didn't even throw for 100 yards last year.
Well, watching Carolina's offense, as soon as Clemson scored 7, it was like, well, I don't know if Carolina can get to 7,
Well, yeah.
It's like, what was the final score going to be? 7-0. Okay, I believe that,
Yeah, it was for Carolina, your offense has to help out your defense by forcing Clemson to feel like they have to go score. The last 2 years, when Carolina has played teams that offensively have felt like we don't have to put any pressure on ourselves to go score. That's the way the Missouri game played out as well. That's why they never threw on 3rd and long. They just said, there's no reason to drop back and get our quarterback hit.
Right.
For Clemson last year, there was no reason to put DJU in situations to turn the football over because you're saying we're up in this game. They're doing nothing on offense. So I think that's where Spencer Rattler could be the X factor in this game. He doesn't have to throw 6 touchdowns. The offense has got to give you something early on to just get them into this game because, go back and look at the series history. The last time this game was even, close was my buddy Perry Orth. Perry Orth and Lorenzo Nunez playing quarterback against these guys in Columbia.
They had it to within, an onside kick attempt of having a chance to tie it?
Yeah, and that was sort of when I would say the emergence of Debo Samuel. Actually, a young Debo went off in that game. Perry played well. Lorenzo Nunez was a running threat. That was the last time this thing was even close. So does momentum, and I know it's going to be in Clemson, but how much does that Carolina sideline, the confidence continue to grow if at the end of the first quarter you're looking around saying, this is a ball game?
Yeah. Well, I think there's some comps, and I want to talk about a few of those comp games as we continue to unpack the matchup. 803-404-6100. Want to hear from you guys. Love Chevy phone line, text line, however you want to be a part of the show, and you can get both of us on Twitter, at Pearson Fowler, at Wes Mitchell GC. Chris Clark along in just a little bit. We'll have the Mason-Dixon lines. I believe we're actually going to move that into the 11 o'clock hour. We'll give you a final time here in just a minute. We are broadcasting live from Firehouse Subs on Garner's Ferry, right across from Circle K and Verizon. Come see us. Got some basketball tickets for you. Come get a sandwich. Nobody wants to cook today. Nobody wants to clean. Let Firehouse take care of all that for you. Come see us. 6041 Garner's Ferry, and the Extra Point continues right after this.
More of the Extra Point coming up next on 107.5 The Game.
Hey, it's Terry Ford from 107.5 The Game with our buddy Adam Vance from Sound and Images. Okay, Adam, we all know Sound and Images as an events company, but you're more than that, aren't you?
We are a commercial audiovisual installation company. And what does that mean? That means that we can come into your place of business. We can help you assess what you have, what you need, where you want to go. We're really big on video conferencing systems. BYOD, as they say, bring your own device, connect wirelessly, connect with ease.
If you want to reach out to Adam Vance, just go to soundandimages.net or call 803-791-3925.
The wait is over. New Chevys are on the lot now, and more are on the way to Herndon Chevrolet. These vehicles are in demand and selling fast, so don't miss out. Stop by your hometown Chevy dealer and shop all your favorite models at prices you'll love. Find new roads at Herndon Chevrolet or visit us online at HerndonChevy.com today.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile, smile.
Hey, sports fans, score a rewarding new career and great employee benefits with South Carolina Department of Corrections. There's increased pay for many positions and sign-on bonuses starting at $7,500. They're hiring correctional officers, nurses, food services, facilities maintenance, mental health professionals, and more positions statewide. Visit joinscdc.com to apply today. Join Move Fitness today for only $10. If you're finally ready to drop the extra pounds, get in shape, and feel better, this is the time to act. Stop by any club or see us on the web at muvsc.com. See clubs for full membership details. Expires 11/30/22.
Firehouse Subs restaurants across Columbia support first responders by donating a portion of every purchase to Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation. To date, the foundation has awarded more than $560,000 in life-saving equipment. Visit your nearest Firehouse Subs restaurant and help support our local heroes.
Attention! Did you or a loved one live at or near Marine Base Camp Lejeune in North Carolina between 1953 and 1987? If so, listen closely for this important legal announcement. From 1953 to 1987, Marines and their family members at Camp Lejeune drank water that was contaminated with hazardous toxins. The toxins found in the water at Camp Lejeune may cause health issues, especially later in life. Types of health issues associated with water at Camp Lejeune are numerous. If you or a loved one lived near Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation without going to court. Even if you were turned down in the past, a new law can allow you to file a claim today. If you or a loved one spent time near Camp Lejeune, call the Negligence Network to find out if you're eligible for financial compensation. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call 1-800-700-4333. That's 1-800-700-4333. 1-800-700-4333.
Not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code AUTO for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or any gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code AUTO for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code AUTO for 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
$18 minutes in front of 10 o'clock on a Friday morning, and welcome back into the Extra Point. Pearson Fowler, Wes Mitchell here with you at Firehouse Subs on Garner's Ferry, right across from the Verizon store. Can't miss it. Come see us. Get some basketball tickets. We have tickets and parking passes for the men's and women's basketball games this weekend. The men this afternoon, the women this weekend as well. So if you want some tickets, want to come by and say hey, share some Carolina Clemson thoughts with us, please do so. We will be out here all morning. Chris Clark along in just a little bit. Talk to our friend Larry Chandler shortly. Got the Mason-Dixon lines coming up at 11:15. We will pick the 5 best college football games of the weekend against the spread. Drew's got his lock. Have special guests, Wes and Chris. I guess since we don't normally pick while they're here, we're going to consider them the special guests for that pick segment. So that's coming up in just a little bit. Plenty more of your thoughts as well. Get us on the text line, 803-404-6100, and get us on Twitter. However you want to be a part of the show, let us know your picks, your thoughts, predictions, matchups. What are you watching for in this Carolina-Clemson game? So we were talking about the matchup defensively for South Carolina. Favorable, I think, for the Gamecocks defensive backs against Clemson's wide receivers. Clemson understands, though, where its bread is buttered. Unfortunately for South Carolina, what Clemson probably should be doing is exactly what Carolina doesn't want them to do, and that is run the football. Will Shipley It's weird watching Clemson this year, and I imagine it's been frustrating for Clemson fans. It's just I feel like every time they give him the ball, he gets 6 yards, and I feel like he'll go a quarter without getting a carry. I don't know how that happens, but it seems like this is an opportunity for, or at least Clemson's probably going to see this as an opportunity to take advantage of the strength of Will Shipley, of that running game when it's been going against the Carolina defense. It's given it up a lot. Tennessee had some early success on the ground against Tennessee last week, but Tennessee just ended up chasing the game so much they couldn't go to the ground game that much. But this does feel like a game where Clemson's probably going to try to go in and have DJ throw it fewer than 20 times.
Yeah, and I think they will run DJ quite a bit as well, I would imagine. And, I think they pick their spots where they run him. And against South Carolina, though, they're going to pull out all the stops. Like I feel like they have made this decision. We're going to pull out all the stops to beat Clemson or to beat South Carolina. Like that is their approach. And so I imagine they're going to run DJ. They're going to put him in a situation to try to succeed without having to throw as much. And if they have success running the ball, he won't have to. We saw that last year. I think the key against Tennessee for South Carolina was that they got guys on the ground. Like there were not a bunch of missed tackles. And, on the other side, that means there were not a lot of forced missed tackles from Tennessee's receivers and backs. So I kind of look at it, if you want to get into the analytics side of things, I think South Carolina has struggled on both ends of the running game. What I mean by that is both before contact and after contact. And so that means a lot of times you're getting blocked, which is the before contact. And then the after contact is somebody making you miss. Well, for Carolina this past week, it felt like they're in a situation where they still got blocked. Like I think that's where the rushing yardage came from. However, they were getting them onto the ground. So those 4 or 5 yard runs are remaining 4 or 5 yard runs as opposed to becoming explosive plays. There were very little explosive plays from Tennessee's offense.
They had
on
2
Saturday.
on the opening drive. It was the Hendon Hooker run, his longest run of the day, which Zach Pickens was like about 4 inches away from sacking Hooker, and then he ended up breaking off a 20-yard run. And then Jabari Small, very uncharacteristically getting Nick Emamori turned around. DQ Smith, I believe, missed a tackle on that play as well. But other than that, you're exactly right. Like the tackling was clean. I saw some stat earlier in the week about the tackling opportunities for Carolina's secondary compared to the missed tackles. And it was nearly pristine. And again, these are against some of the best skill players in the country. Clemson's not going to be able to force the issue like that as much as Tennessee did, which I think has you encouraged. But I do think there's still going to be a problem if you're still getting blocked for 4 and 5 yards every time. Clemson can just run it and every 2 plays get a first down and just kind of salt the game away that way.
If I'm Clemson, I'm watching a lot of that Arkansas tape. Like I feel like that's your
or Florida,
or Florida. That's your blueprint, I think. And on the other side, I think that's where it puts the onus on the offense to if they run the ball, they have success. They score a couple times in the first quarter. Have you scored nothing on offense and you're down 14-0, or have you scored 7 or 10 points and it's still the game is in the balance? I think that is the key. You can stop the run. This sounds silly, but you can stop the run multiple ways. You can stop the run by quite literally defensively stopping the run, or
this team has not done.
They have not done, or making an opponent. This is what I think happened in Kentucky, honestly. They stopped the run by making enough plays on offense and special teams that Kentucky, as the game went on, I think you look back, they chased the game a little bit. They chased the points. And if I was them looking back, I would have said, I'm getting the ball in my running back's hands. I don't care if I'm down in this game. But they didn't necessarily do that. So I think that's why ultimately it comes down. Spencer Rattler, this offense, can you continue to give him time to operate and make him feel comfortable? I think that was the difference. He made plays in the pocket because his line was giving him pass protection. So even when it wasn't there, I think he felt more comfortable sort of easing up into the pocket as opposed to that whole seeing ghosts thing where you see pressure when it's not even there. So I think that's something that will carry over in this game. But like I think Preston said it 2 days ago, we're going to find out pretty quickly. I think the first 10 minutes of game time, we may have a pretty good idea of how this game's going to go. And that crazy stat, Carolina hasn't had a lead change in SEC play. So
yeah, consider this an SEC game because it's not
right?
Charlotte, SC State, or Georgia State. So in the same category. Yeah, it's just one of the most bizarre trends of the season. More your thoughts, 803-404-6100. Love Chevy phone line, text line, however you want to be a part of the show. Chris Clark is here with us at GC. Chris Clark
has arrived. He's walking around with the dad look.
Yeah.
He's got his hand on his hips. He's like surveying the area.
He has a strong pacing game. Even when we're in the studio, it's usually pacing between breaks before the show. He's anxious to fire off some takes here, so we'll hit a quick break, get his thoughts on the Carolina-Clemson game. We'll talk more about some of the big rivalry games this weekend, and make sure to come see us out at Firehouse Subs on Garners Ferry. 6041 is the address, right across from Circle K and Verizon, if that's a little easier for you to find. Come grab a sandwich. Come grab some basketball tickets, men's and women's basketball tickets, plus parking passes. We will be out here all morning. The Extra Point continues right after this.
More of the Extra Point coming up next on 107.5 The Game.
The wait is over. New Chevys are on the lot now, and more are on the way to Herndon Chevrolet. These vehicles are in demand and selling fast, so don't miss out. Stop by your hometown Chevy dealer and shop all your favorite models at prices you'll love. Find new roads at Herndon Chevrolet or visit us online at HerndonChevy.com today.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile, smile.
At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we've seen how terrible accidents turn lives upside down, and we're proud to be the lawyers our clients depend on during their toughest moments. I'm Jason Reynolds. Call me when your family is faced with any serious injury or death.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When you're hurt at work, I go to work, getting you the medical treatment and workers' compensation you depend on. We have the experience and passion you need when you need it most.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 779-4000.
You're invited to the grand opening of Palmetto Cards and Collectibles. South Carolina's largest hobby shop is now open at 404 West Main Street in Lexington. Family owned by card collectors. Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, baseball, basketball, football, Pokemon, and more. They can handle all your trading card and supply needs. They're always buying collections and would love to buy yours. Palmetto Cards is also a grading submission center for PSA and SGC. Visit PalmettoCards.com or stop by Palmetto Cards and Collectibles, West Main Street in Lexington.
With approved credit, call 866-243-4623 for details. One dime down and you're driving during the bigger than Black Friday event at JT's Jeep Ram. Up to $10,000 off new Rams. A $500 Amazon gift card with every purchase. When other dealers say no, JT says you're approved. Get 1.9, 0.9, and even 0% financing. Savings to $10,000 on Jeeps and Rams. JT's Jeep Ram, 378 Lexington. JT'sJeepRam.com. Black Friday sales event.
We keep the clutter out of your gutter. Call on the gutter man.
Have the fall leaves clogged your gutters? Look for the guys in the powdered blue trucks. Let the guttermen clean them out. The pros at the Gutterman can keep you out of the gutter. Call 803-791-7147 or thegutterman.com.
We keep the clutter out of your gutter. Call on the gutter man.
It's a new day because COVID vaccines just got a big update. So all the big stuff coming up this fall, well, now you can say, you bet I'll be there. Because updated COVID vaccines protect against both the original COVID virus and Omicron. And everyone 5 and older can get one. So this is a moment we've all been waiting for.
Find updated COVID vaccines at vaccines.gov. We can do this. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Meet Joe A,
Hi.
Joe B,
Hello.
and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect, support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Jay Phillips here for my good friends at Dan's Fan City in Harbison. Ceiling fans don't sound like something you think about a lot because you don't really need to, but when you've got them, they work well, keeping energy costs down and your comfort level up. John at Dan's Fan City wants to remind you to make your ceiling fan move in reverse this time of year to keep the heat off the ceiling. See John for any questions and for all of your ceiling fan needs. Go to Dan's Fan City in Harbison or call him at 781-FANS. You'll be glad you did.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Welcome back to the Extra Point, sponsored by Twin Peaks, the ultimate sports lodge, on 107.5 The Game.
$9:53 Friday morning. Welcome back into the Extra Point. Pearson, Wes, Chris here with you at Firehouse Subs on Garner's Ferry. Just intoxicating aromas of fresh baked bread and warm meats and cheeses wafting over to our table right here in the front of the store. If you want to come, just get a sampling of all the sandwiches, of all the smells. Come out to Firehouse Subs. We will be here all morning talking Carolina Clemson, talking rivalry week. We will have the Mason-Dixon lines in the 11 o'clock hour. Excited to have Wes and Chris give their picks in that segment as our guest pickers for this week. We got basketball tickets for the men's and the women's basketball games this weekend that all you have to do is just show up. I should make you work for it, ask you a trivia question or.
No, when they get here, I'm going to ask them something.
Wes will ask you something. You getting the tickets will not even necessarily be contingent on that. He's just going to ask you something.
Yeah. So all right, we are at Garner's Ferry.
Yep.
So swing by. It's kind of first come, first serve. You can pick which ones you want. So again,
So you can pick to sit in the last row if you want. Last row of the whole arena. I don't think we have this.
No. So you got women's basketball against UCLA on the 29th, against Hampton on the 27th. And then if you want to just say, forget all this Black Friday shopping, you're out, maybe you're going to this Target over here, which I'm sure is packed. Just swing by, get these tickets, and go to the game today. Men's basketball playing USC Upstate. If you have 2 people in your party, we can split them up by 2s. But if you have 4, I'll go ahead and give you 4 of them. So I actually have 6 men's basketball tickets. Swing by right now. There's somebody coming in right now. You can have some tickets to the game today and say, I don't want to go Black Friday shopping.
The only thing we can't do is we can't give you 5. We can't give you 5 tickets, and
Sure,
there's just one
exactly.
standalone.
Yes.
Come in with an even number. No, I'm just kidding. We probably could. I don't know. Come by, get tickets. Come by, see us, make your predictions
Parking
for Carolina
passes,
Clemson. Text line, Love Chevy phone line all morning, too. All right, I want to talk more about the Egg Bowl. We'll save it to the next hour. Chris, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was outstanding. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Hope everybody else had a good one. Little split between Columbia and the home stomping grounds of Anderson. So little Carolina and Clemson, merger for Thanksgiving a couple days before the game.
Very good. I asked Wes his kind of family dynamic. I'll get a full recap of your Carolina versus Clemson dialogue at your Thanksgiving table yesterday. Coming up in just a little bit, more thoughts on the Egg Bowl, more thoughts on rivalry weekend, and plenty more on Carolina Clemson as the Extra Point continues.
Celebrating our 15th anniversary is Columbia's Sports Talk Station.
WNKT-FM Eastover, Columbia.
107.5 The Game.
A Cumulus Media Station.
This basketball season and every basketball season, come to campus and catch a game. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game. Find your tickets online at GamecocksOnline.com.
Oh, now Dasher, now Prancer and Vixen. Where's Prancer and Vixen? How am I supposed to get all these gifts delivered without a full crew?
Santa, you could just call Schroeder's Towing, the best hookers in town. They haul everything, cars, semis, heavy equipment, even sleighs.
Schroeder's Towing? Of course, the company at the top of my nice list this holiday season.
Count on the best hookers in town, Schroeder's Towing, to make sure you get all your heavy equipment where they need to go in record time. Online at SchroedersTowingSC.com.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
You haven't tasted real Carolina barbecue until you've experienced Little Pig's Barbecue. Full-service dine-in buffet with barbecue ribs, brisket, chicken, rice, hash, tomato pie, macaroni and cheese, and many more of your favorites. Eat in or take out. Little Pig's Barbecue on Alpine Road is open from 11 to 2 on Wednesday, 11 to 8 Thursday through Saturday, and 11 to 3 on Sunday. Little Pig's Barbecue on Alpine Road. Little Pigs family looks forward to seeing you soon.
72-hour after Thanksgiving sale at Galliana Chrysler Jeep Kia on Greystone. Almost every new Chrysler Jeep and Kia priced at invoice. I repeat, invoice pricing on nearly every new Chrysler Jeep and Kia. Qualified buyers put no money down and make no payments for the next 3 months. 0% financing will be available. Plus, current Kia owners get a $500 trade-in bonus. Bring your old car as is. Don't even wash it. We'll take any trade-in. Interested parties should arrive early for best selection. No negotiating will be necessary. Save thousands in minutes. Invoice pricing on almost every new Chrysler Jeep and Kia with no money down and no payments for the next 3 months. Black Friday, Saturday, and Monday only at Galliana Chrysler Jeep Kia on Greystone. I-126 Sioux Exit in Columbia. Call 779-7300 or GallianaSE.com.
Gotta go to Galliana.
Excludes Telluride, K5, and Wrangler. In stock units only. All rebates to dealer. $27.77 per month per thousand borrowed for 36 months at 0% APR with 0 down. Plus tax tag includes $225 closing fee. Negative trade equity financed in new loan subject to lender approval. Expires November 28th.
Attention. Did you or a loved one live at or near Marine Base Camp Lejeune in North Carolina between 1953 and 1987? If so, listen closely for this important legal announcement. From 1953 to 1987, Marines and their family members at Camp Lejeune drank water that was contaminated with hazardous toxins. The toxins found in the water at Camp Lejeune may cause health issues, especially later in life. Types of health issues associated with water at Camp Lejeune are numerous. If you or a loved one lived near Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation without going to court. Even if you were turned down in the past, a new law can allow you to file a claim today. If you or a loved one spent time near Camp Lejeune, call the Negligence Network to find out if you're eligible for financial compensation. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call 1-800-700-4333. That's 1-800-700-4333. 1-800-700-4333.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet, your trusted family-owned dealership since 1961. Love Chevy, I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads. Football Friday.
Hey, straight down the middle and it's blocked. Carolina blocked the punt.
Getting you ready for the weekend.
Picked up at the 25. Stepping inside the 20 and at the 15. Got a blocker out of it. Into the end zone.
Where your butt will be glued to the couch.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
Touchdown, Carolina.
107.5 The Game.
It's time for the extra point. Sports talk with a little something extra.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
With Pearson Fowler.
I'm a jack of all trades, really. I one-time manned a flamethrower.
Preston Thorne.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
You think we need one more? You think we need one more?
And the guys from Gamecock Central.
All right, we'll get one more.
These guys are cool.
On your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Okay, let's get this show on the road. Tricky, get the bag. Let's move it, Heifer. Bubbling in the sugar, baby.
A minute after 10 o'clock on a Friday morning. Kind of feels like a Monday. Had a little bit of a mini break in the week there for Thanksgiving. Hope you all enjoyed your Thanksgiving. Happy to be back in the saddle here, though, on 107.5 The Game. Pearson, Wes, Chris, here with you. Got the Gamecock Central guys for the entire show here because we are out on location at Firehouse Subs on Garner's Ferry. 6041 is the address. If it's easier for you, right across the street from Circle K and Verizon, come stop by, get a break from your shopping, get a break from cooking and cleaning, and have a delicious sandwich. It smells ridiculous in here. After last night, I thought I wasn't going to eat again until next February. I am pretty hungry right now just sitting here smelling these sandwiches. So come in, smell sandwiches, eat sandwiches, get some basketball tickets. Appreciate Curtis for just popping by. He thought we were lying about having tickets, but we do actually have tickets for the we have a couple more for the men's game, which is this afternoon at 4. We have several for women's basketball on Sunday against Hampton and Tuesday against UCLA. We have parking passes as well.
Yeah, shout out Curtis. We proved you wrong, man. You thought we didn't have any actual tickets. But no,
I'm glad he came by, even though he thought we didn't have tickets.
Yes. But no, we appreciate you listening, Curtis. Appreciate you coming by. Curtis telling us he is a longtime listener and also listens a ton to our buddy Bill Gunner in the morning. He got
your buddy Bill Gunner. Speak for me over here.
He got 2 of the UCLA tickets. So enjoy the game, Curtis. There's only 2 left. So if you want to go to that game, you better leave Target and come on over here.
That's the hot ticket item today. More on everything. We just have so much to get to on an incredibly busy Friday. Really excited for y'all to pick some Mason-Dixon Lions games with us coming up in the 11 o'clock hour. But It is rivalry weekend. We had our first big rivalry game yesterday. Was the Egg Bowl. It's been that in recent years that has become one of my favorite rivalries. Love having it on Thanksgiving and breaking up a little bit of the watch mostly NFL. Nice to have a college game in there. Also, it just feels like that game's been really fun ever since Elijah Moore peed like a dog out of the back of the end zone. Have to say, I was a little bit surprised by the result last night. Mississippi State, of course, winning 24-22, a back and forth affair. When we left on Wednesday, we had to put in an early entry into buy or sell. Will Lane Kiffin still be the Ole Miss coach? Just on the off chance that it happened. Of course, it's probably going to be at least during the Iron Bowl, if not once the Iron Bowl is finished. But now that Mississippi State has won the Egg Bowl, now that Ole Miss has lost again and they have finished their regular season 8-4, do you feel like last night's performance has any bearing on what will happen this offseason?
At all, as far as whether or not Lane gets the job? No. I do think somebody, I can't properly credit, somebody on social media on Twitter last night pointed out that ever since the Lane to Auburn stuff had really heated up, like it's always been out there, even since last year, but ever since it really heated up, the Ole Miss team has kind of looked differently, especially on offense. Now, is that a coincidence? Maybe. Is
lots of jokes of it's
distraction
really
thing?
hard. It's hard to come up with a game plan while you're also interviewing for a job kind of jokes.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't think it will have a bearing ultimately. Like, I think
like Auburn doesn't not want him now because he lost last night.
Right. No, there's no way. I mean, I do. Like, what I'm wondering is, does Lane know what he's going to do? Or is he literally going back and forth? Is he, or is he kind of playing one off the other?
Negotiating.
Yeah. Well, his agent is Jimmy Sexton. There's obviously negotiating going on.
But it also against Jimmy Sexton.
Well, our guys over at Auburn Live on the On3 network are reporting that like Lane and Jimmy Sexton have Auburn's offer in hand.
Well, I guess I mean like everyone else that's also interviewing for the Auburn job is probably also represented by Jimmy Sexton. So he's just negotiating against himself the whole time.
Yeah.
So you don't think that like Lane Kiffin's like, I got to come back for another year because I want to go out on top in the Egg Bowl?
No.
Nah. I will say this though, y'all. Chris can attest to this. It is silly season when there is a coaching opening. I mean, you don't know what to believe, and it is very, very easy for information to get spread around and then get repeated, and it's actually probably traced back to the same person, but people are hearing it. Oh, I've heard this from multiple people, and it's people a lot of times that normally know stuff and know what's going on and kind of the just normal day-to-day stuff of following a football program. Hey, this guy has had a great spring practice and he's about to emerge. Hey, South Carolina's about to sign this recruit or land this recruit. These are people that follow the program very closely, but when it comes to this stuff, everybody's looking for that little morsel of information. And then
it's an echo chamber. It's like one thing gets said and it gets repeated, and it doesn't matter if the first thing had any, validity to it. But what's
dangerous?
I want to ask you guys just about the reporting part of it, because I'm like the furthest thing from a reporter. You guys are actual reporters. But what started out as an interesting back and forth between John Sokoloff, who's he's a sports reporter down in Mississippi, and Lane Kiffin. It felt like some good-natured ribbing between the two. Sokoloff had initially reported that he was going to take the Auburn job. Lane Kiffin, sort of fired back and was like, "Oh, John Sokoloff took a job at a different TV station," and it felt good-natured. It feels like it's maybe verging on something a little more real in terms of a rivalry. So, how do you make sense of a story like this, understanding that this guy's a reporter, he probably has a source somewhere, but also if Lane Kiffin is, vehemently denying it as much as he is, even after his regular season is ended, like, how do you make sense of that?
I want to put this on Chris, because Chris has killed it in the coaching search game. But I'll say real quick, in my opinion, the level of scrutiny you personally have to give to a source or sources before you put out information is on a completely different level for something like this versus, hey, I heard South Carolina's in good shape with this prospect to end up at South Carolina. Everybody knows that you're dealing with incomplete information with whether a 17-year-old is going to pick South Carolina, and that it can change on the day of an announcement, Yeah. So saying, hey,
it might be right when you report it, but wrong when it actually happens.
So saying, hey, guy, and that could be the case with this as well. Right. But you have to know what you're reporting on. And to me, it has to come with a much different level of personal scrutiny about whether I'm putting something out. It's not just, I can post on the board, hey, we're not sure, but I've heard, Carolina feels pretty good about landing this guy. And there comes with a certain understanding of what it's about. But if you're talking about somebody leaving an SEC job, or really not even SEC, any coach, talking about them leaving their job, when you report that, it actually does affect people. So I think you have to have some self-awareness about how comfortable is this. A 99% source? This is 100% source. So yeah.
Well, let me throw it to you, Chris, because in general, and I'm closer, I guess, to the world of journalism than I am to the actual world of sports, just because I guess what I do here on the radio station is just like I deal with journalists and reporters more. So I tend to believe reporters. And I tend to disbelieve coaches because for most of the season, coaches are pretty disingenuous about everything because that's their job. They're marketing. If Lane Kiffin had accepted the Auburn job, it's still in his best interest to deny until you're actually in the clear, until it's official. So I tend to believe reporters. But you, again, like I said, have a different perspective on this.
Yeah, I mean, the Lane situation's so interesting because he does utilize social media so much, and not only utilize, like Shane Beamer utilizes social media a lot, but Beamer would not be going on social media addressing, like, stoking the flames of this. Basically, like he's a huge troll on social media, so that's basically what he's doing with all
Lane,
this.
not Shane.
Lane, yeah. Lane is a huge troll on social media, and so he has fun with it. And so for a sitting SEC coach and a successful one to be directly addressing all this stuff on social media is a little different. It's strange. It's normal for them to address it in a press conference and have to make the, well, I can make a pine box joke, or I'm not going to be the next Alabama coach, like hearkening back to the Saban stuff when he said I'm not going to be Alabama coach, and then he is all of a sudden. That's normal, but the fact, like, he takes it a little bit farther, so it just makes it a lot more interesting. But to just go back to what Wes said, the coaching search stuff is so fascinating because, there's so much of a filter you have to run everything through. You do have to understand that some information that you get, even if it's from somebody reputable, can really be like agent driven. I mean, we all know how powerful Jimmy Sexton is. That's why he has so many high powered clients who have huge contracts. He's almost kind of a kingmaker of placing guys at different schools, or, when one Sexton client gets fired with a giant buyout at one school, enter the next Sexton client, at that same school, and so on and so forth. But, I mean, we experienced it during the coaching search at South Carolina that led to Beamer, that, you hear things and it's almost tantalizing because of the sheer volume of people reporting it, or the different nuggets that you even hear behind the scenes, but you just have to filter it and you just kind of have to trust what you hear.
So the Shane Beamer announcement was in the middle of the Kentucky game. That's when that news broke.
Yep.
It's been a couple of years. How many days before that did you know that it was going to be Shane?
Oh, God.
All right. I'll hop in because Chris ain't one to brag on himself. I'll brag on him.
Okay.
I think.
Are we talking days or weeks?
I would say day. I mean, here's the thing. Beamer had become the front runner weeks. It became pretty clear days before that it was going to be Beamer if nothing changed. I think, that's one of those situations where, and this is where I think there is value to people subscribing to something like Gamecock Central. We maybe don't break the news as the first to do the big national, breaking Shane Beamer is the next South Carolina head coach. And, I'll be honest, even when it broke that he was the next head coach, like, it really actually wasn't official, that he was the next. But
We're
it was
still waiting on a fax.
It was like going that direction, I think.
So it's not outside of the realm of possibility that Sokolov could have had this scoop last Wednesday or whenever that was, like 4 or 5 days before the final game of the regular season.
Well, here's the thing. I have no doubt somebody told him that. It doesn't mean it's a scoop.
Or it could do the thing that annoys us where he ends up being right, even though it wasn't actually right at the time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like the opposite of the recruiting thing.
Yeah, everybody knows somebody.
Yeah.
Like somebody told him. I have no doubt
Maybe
about
he just
that.
saw Lane Kiffin at a Hall's Chop House in Auburn, Alabama.
No, somebody who normally knows stuff, I'm sure, said, "Oh yeah, Lane's gonna be the guy." But the circle of people that actually know, and you're talking about Lane Kiffin,
right,
who could just be trolling everyone.
But it hasn't been consummated yet. Would it have already happened by now if it was going to happen? Or do you think they'll wait till the Iron Bowl?
I mean, the game just ended last night. So
yeah, less than 12 hours
there's
ago, I
haggling.
guess.
I mean, another common Jimmy Sexton thing is there's going to be contract haggling, back and forth. And you look at, especially consider how the pay scale has now been broken. Mark Stoops gets 8.6. Drinkwitz just got another raise. It's kind of crazy right now. I was trying to go back and think a little bit, like it is what Wes said as far as the value of subscribing to Gamecock Central. We hope people see that. But like, I remember like the most frustrating thing that happened during that search was a report. Somebody put out a report saying that it was Hugh Freeze's job to lose. And it was completely untrue. He was on the
not a report.
He was like on the. It was a report. It was couched as an absolute fact.
Guy,
it was
right?
Dennis Dodd, and not to throw him under the bus, but I mean, and it was just kind of obviously like had to have been like an agent plant or just a straight up guess. But Hugh wasn't even on the list at that point. Like he was on the list at the beginning, going into
the very long version of the list, right?
The very long version of the list. And going into that last day, that was, like you said, a Saturday. It was in December because of the COVID year. And I think that morning, if I'm remembering correctly, I think they still had one more interview that morning, which was, we believe, Billy Napier that morning to finish out the process. But we had heard and reported up to that point that Shane Beamer was the overwhelming leader, and it would have taken like a big shift. Yeah, that's more of kind of like finishing out the process, type of thing. Because it's COVID, people are in season. And so some of the interviews that were originally intended to be like phone calls and then a Zoom and then maybe an in-person interview, you had to shift around a lot of that.
We may have some breaking news on this by the end of the day. I'm just constantly refreshing Twitter. Does either of you feel differently about Lane Kiffin's likelihood to leave or stay based on his comments last night or based on how the game went compared to where we left things Wednesday?
Not really, but also I have no actual, not being down there in the midst of it, I have no feel for how much of this is just, negotiation driven versus how much of it is real. I think there's probably, even if it had gotten to the point of Auburn feeling like it was going to happen, you probably still have that other shoe to drop of Sexton going back to Ole Miss and saying, y'all really going to let this happen? If you do this, we can keep this from happening. We can head all this off. And, I think it's going to come down to ultimately, does Kiffin think he has reached his ceiling at Ole Miss? Does he think, the only thing that loss could do to affect things is there any short-term effect on Lane Kiffin's thinking coming off of losing to Bama in a game that clearly affected him more than most losses? You watch his press conference, we're not here for moral victories. We came here to win. We were in the game, did not win the game. Is there any, then you get blown out by Arkansas last week, right? And now you lose the rivalry game. So you go into the final, we talk about final stretches, or
they
segments of the
November.
Season. Yeah, like I think you go into that with one loss,
Yeah,
and now you finish the year with 4.
Yeah.
And how's your fan base right now? What are they? Is there any?
Well, I don't know how much Lane's worried about the Rebel faithful there, but
is there any short term just like, wow, I don't know if I can win here. I've got to I don't know if I can win here to the level I want to win.
Yeah, so maybe propels the move a little bit.
Yeah, I don't. And again, we're all speculating on this. You can't. Who knows with Lane? I don't put anything past him.
Right. Well, we'll ask Dennis Dodd as soon as we get a hold of him. 803-404-6100. And who knows? Like I said, we might have something breaking here by the end of the show. We're just kind of all collectively holding our breath on Lane Kiffin watch here a little bit. Love Chevy phone line, text line. Y'all be a part of the show. Want to hear your thoughts? Any rivalry games that you want to highlight this weekend or thoughts on the Carolina-Clemson game? We'll circle back to that game. Of course, the one of most importance for most of you around here. Also, make sure to come see us out at Firehouse Subs. We're going to be here for the rest of the morning. Got basketball tickets to give away. Come get a sandwich. I know you don't want to cook. I know you don't want to clean. Get something fast and easy and delicious. It smells incredible in here. We're at 6041 Garners Ferry, right across from the Circle K and Verizon. Come see us all morning. Extra Point continues next.
This is Boomer Science with CBS Sports Minute. This Sunday, I'll start out watching the Bears at the Jets. Justin Fields has a separated left shoulder while Mike White replaces the bench Zach Wilson. Tennessee hosting Cincinnati and Carolina welcoming Denver are the two home dogs I'm pegging as my upset specials. We'll see you at noon Eastern on the NFL Today on CBS. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'm Boomer Science.
Give the gift of the Cheesecake Factory. Through December 31st, get a free $15 bonus card for every $50 gift card purchased at thecheesecakefactory.com or at any of the Cheesecake Factory restaurants. Visit thecheesecakefactory.com for more details.
Here's to Prilosec OTC. Without Prilosec, I wouldn't be able to enjoy all this yummy holiday food. Speaking of, whoever made that apple pie, delicious. I just take one pill each morning and zero heartburn all day. So cheers to Prilosec OTC. Ooh, are those jalapeno poppers?
Prilosec OTC prevents excess acid that can cause heartburn, so you can enjoy the holidays. One pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Give the gift of the Cheesecake Factory. Through December 31st, get a free $15 bonus card for every $50 gift card purchased at thecheesecakefactory.com or at any of the Cheesecake Factory restaurants. Visit thecheesecakefactory.com for more details.
More of the Extra Point coming up next on 107.5 The Game.
Join Move Fitness today for only $10. If you're finally ready to drop the extra pounds, get in shape, and feel better, this is the time to act. Stop by any club or see us on the web at MUVSC.com. See clubs for full membership details. Expires 11/30/20. Locally owned Atlantic Windows and Doors has been making Columbia area homes more comfortable, attractive, weather-tight, and energy efficient for over 35 years. How? By distributing products from the best window and door manufacturers in the country. These products give you the best looks, the best quality, and the best value, all based on your specific needs. And everything is professionally installed by their dedicated and experienced employees, not subcontractors. Atlantic Windows and Doors. Visit them online at awdsc.com.
We keep the clutter out of your gutter. Call on the gutter man.
The Guttermen have been providing top-notch service throughout the Midlands for over 47 years, building their business on relationships, not gimmicks. And you can call them locally, not a 1-800 number. Call them today at 791-7147 and look for the guys in the powder blue trucks.
We keep the clutter out of your gutter. Call on the gutter man.
Kubota tractors have become the go-to tractor for landowners and farmers. Carolina Power Equipment in Casey is the Midland Superstore for Kubota tractors, large and small. Shop and compare the full lineup of Kubota tractors right on site. Hydrostatic and manual transmissions, four-wheel drive, two-wheel drive, front-end loaders, and more. Come in today for the products, service, parts, and accessories to help you work smarter, not harder. Carolina Power Equipment, 2490 Charleston Highway in Casey, or visit carolinapowerequipment.com.
Hey, I'm Jenny Sturm. I'm with Sturmy Plumbing. Call my dad if you have any slow drains, clogged drains, leaky pipes, runny toilets, runny sinks, or no hot water. Call Sturmy Plumbing for all of your service and repair needs. 803-201-2689. At Sturmy Plumbing, where we make your gray skies blue.
This is Lisa with Stormy Plumbing. I look forward to hearing from you. Please call us at 803-201-2689. Thank you.
This basketball season and every basketball season, come to campus and catch a game. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game. Find your tickets online at GamecocksOnline.com. Mix a little sports analysis, pop culture, and great interviews, and you've got the Rich Eisen Show podcast. Bo Jackson talks about his greatest accomplishment.
July 21st, 1990, I took third strike on purpose right down the pipe, turned around, had a few choice words with the umpire. He proceeded to toss me out of the game, spent the rest of the day with my wife and my baby girl, who was born that morning at 6:30 a.m.
The Rich Eisen Show podcast, wherever you listen. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
For some, the best week in college football. The only reason it's not for me is just that it's bittersweet. The college football season is almost over. South Carolina playing Clemson tomorrow. Ohio State, Michigan. Got Cincinnati and Tulane. Starting in about an hour and a half. We'll pick that coming up in the Mason-Dixon lines. I asked Wes earlier, Chris, if this was his favorite week of the season. Week 1, championship weekend, rivalry weekend, the one weekend in college football where just everything crazy happens, which was last weekend this year. Is this your favorite weekend?
Well, can you predict which weekend is going to be the craziest?
Well, no.
Beforehand?
No. But
So-
just like in hindsight, it's like, wow, that was the best.
Oh, a hindsight. Yeah, a hindsight pick. I mean, I got to say, like, I feel like my favorite weekend in general, like just yearly, is the first week because you're like, football's here. I know we talked about whether that was like what signaled the start of the college football season. So I guess you could argue that. Yeah, I think probably rivalry week though.
Yeah.
Like a hindsight thing. It's either the beginning or the end, and the end is rivalry week.
In
for the
your
most part.
illustrious NCAA football career, did you, as what's the word I'm looking for? Were you as ardent a pursuer of all of the rivalry trophies? Like, you could play the games and fill up your trophy case with all the different rivalry games with each side winning.
I was just a pursuer of winning. I don't know if I ever lost.
So were you more like dynasty mode or
dynasty
play
mode,
now?
and I would not try to set it on whatever the hard level was. I just like I'd beat people like 212 to nothing.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I used to always, I just like going through and seeing all the different rivalry trophies and try to win them all, the brass jug and the whatever, that spittoon and the jeweled shillelagh. And I mean, there's so many good ones, the Apple Cup, the Egg Bowl. It's fantastic. I saw somebody making an appeal that like the Carolina Clemson game should just be called the Carolina Clemson game and kind of ditch the Palmetto Cup because it's kind of cheesy.
Palmetto Bowl,
whatever. I don't even know. Mayor's Cup, Palmetto Bowl. I don't really care about that. I think Carolina Clemson game's fine, right?
That's what we call it here.
Carolina Clemson game. Yeah. I mean, Palmetto Bowl is
it's just
fine.
Carolina
It's cool.
Clemson.
Have you ever heard
game.
anyone call it the Palmetto Bowl in a conversation?
Not
in a non-press conference setting.
I think you see it in writing, not in like casual conversation.
Yeah.
Certainly nobody sitting around the Thanksgiving table is,
right.
a family of a house divided is saying, what are you guys doing for the Palmetto Bowl on
Right.
Saturday? No.
That would be like the actually live. Tell me you don't live here.
Yeah.
Hey guys, what do you think about that Palmetto Bowl on Saturday?
Is it is that what is it a bowl?
No, they have
trophy?
you talking about this? It's a trophy, I believe.
I don't even know what it looks like.
I think Clemson tweeted out a picture of it.
At this point, it probably
or
just is a golden tiger paw, right?
They trolled with it for sure at one point. I think it's a trophy.
Well, while you're looking for that, I got to ask you because I asked Wes earlier. I guess I thought Wes was from somewhere that he's not, or maybe I don't know where in the state it is. You're from Anderson.
Yep.
That is Clemson's backyard. You have a lot of Clemson fans in your family, presumably?
No.
Man.
It was interesting growing up. Went to TL Hanna, and we're about an hour away from Georgia, and so growing up, it was a ton of Clemson, a good bit of Georgia, and at that particular time and era, not as many Gamecock fans, but there are actually there's still a lot of Gamecocks from Anderson. Anderson Gamecock Club is a pretty vibrant group. When I've been back there, but no,
And you're a celebrity there now, right?
No, I'm not a celebrity anywhere.
Zach Pickens went to TL Hanna?
Zach Pickens went to TL Hanna, and he turned out to be a Gamecock.
Yeah.
But, we actually didn't have huge family gatherings yesterday. I split time between Anderson and Columbia. And let me make sure. Nope, there are actually no Clemson fans.
Man, okay, so I was hoping that one of you could be like, oh, yeah, I got this cousin or someone that's a huge Clemson fan. I really want more of the Clemson perspective, because the couple of Clemson fans in my family that I saw yesterday, it's I wouldn't say it's concerned, but it's also not confident. I think that's where Clemson fans are. They're not like concerned about the game, but they're not super confident they're going to win it. And it feels like Carolina fans are quietly confident, but don't want to express it because it's been a long time since they've won that game.
Fearful of the letdown.
Yeah. It's like you don't want to.
I think Carolina fans are confident in competing.
Yes, which is more than you can say for most of the. I mean, Carolina hasn't scored a touchdown in this rivalry game since 2018.
Certainly didn't have one last year.
There wasn't a game in 2020, and wasn't the 2019 game like 30-6? A couple of field goals.
38-3.
38-3. Yeah, they haven't scored a touchdown in almost 5 years.
But all right, that's one of those things where, all right, they haven't scored a touchdown in 2 games. Like you can make it sound because they didn't play.
But yes. So you can make it sound worse. But if you're a South Carolina fan, it has been 4 full years since you have watched your team score a touchdown against your hated rival.
Yeah, it's painful.
Yeah, that's brutal. So yes, the idea of it being competitive is valuable, and that, I mean, that's, I don't want to say that's all you can ask for, but that was like, to the extent that Carolina fans were optimistic about the Tennessee game, which I didn't sense much of that. It was just like, can you keep the game close? Can it be respectable? Can you find a way to score some points? Next thing you know, you got to be competitive before you even talk about winning the game. So it is just, this has been one of the most unusual Carolina Clemson weeks I can remember, because it has been very quiet, I think, on both fronts.
I feel like, I was trying to think about last year. People were passing around the meme this week of P. Diddy, or I think that's what he goes by nowadays, with the whole Carolina and Clemson fans withholding their trash talk because they're not sure which team will show up. That I got passed around last year, actually, too, because, Clemson had, quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes for those of you that are not here, fallen off a cliff to win 10 games last year, and we're so bad. And then Carolina fans, at home had beaten Florida, beat Auburn, and were an improved team, certainly over what we had seen. So there was a thought, I remember going into that game, that Carolina was going to compete in that game. And of course that didn't end up happening, but I remember it feels a little bit actually similar to that. I think Carolina fans have maybe a little bit more confidence in the competitive level going into this one, though.
Well, we'll get some of your thoughts. Wes and I talked about some of the matchups we are circling in the 9 o'clock hour. We'll get some of your thoughts on those things in just a few. 803-404-6100. All you listening as well, want to hear your thoughts, and I want you to come by and see us at Firehouse Subs. We're about to talk to Larry Chandler, who helped us listen buy or sell a couple of weeks ago, who's been nice enough to have us out here at the Garner's Ferry location of Firehouse Subs. Come out and get some basketball tickets, talk Carolina Clemson with us, rivalry weekend in general. A lot more to do as a busy Friday edition of the Extra Point continues next.
More of the Extra Point coming up next on 107.5 The Game. High school coverage on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
The best part about taking ZzzQuil Pure Z's Sleep Plus Next Day Energy at night is actually the next morning. I wake up alert with none of the grogginess from taking too much melatonin. Pure Z Sleep Plus Next Day Energy is a bilayer tablet with immediate release melatonin and extended release B vitamins to help me fall asleep naturally and wake refreshed. It's my secret weapon for a great night's sleep and a great morning.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom.
Can't beat that.
ZzzQuil Pure Z's Gummies. Sleep better, wake your best.
I studied Spanish in college and never got fluent, but then I tried Babbel.
Want the most effective way to learn another language? In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's bite-sized lessons will have you learning another language in as little as 3 weeks.
Babbel gets you speaking quickly about things you actually talk about in the real world.
University studies have shown that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a semester of college Spanish. If you want to learn a new language, there's no better way than Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try Babbel for free. That's Babbel.com.
For appliances with Reliances, that's Jeffers McGill.
Come see the entire line of Whirlpool appliances at 1421 Atlas Road. Whirlpool offers bigger, better, and more efficient appliances. And Jeffers McGill offers the best in customer service and low prices. Jeffers McGill and Whirlpool, your home team.
For appliances with Reliances, that's Jeffers McGill.
McGill. You're invited to the huge annual Black Friday weekend at Shooter's Choice in West Columbia. 3 full days of off-the-chart special pricing. Plenty of inventory to choose from, but with some limited quantities. So don't delay. The experienced staff at Shooter's Choice will help you make that perfect gift purchase and save you hundreds of dollars. Black Friday deals begin Friday morning at 6 a.m., Saturday 10 to 5, Sunday 11 to 5. The low pricing will shock you. Shooter's Choice on Sunset Boulevard in West Columbia. Make your first choice your best choice. Make it Shooter's Choice. You're invited to the grand opening of Palmetto Cards and Collectibles. South Carolina's largest hobby shop is now open at 404 West Main Street in Lexington. Family owned by card collectors. Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, baseball, basketball, football, Pokemon, and more. They can handle all your trading card and supply needs. They're always buying collections and would love to buy yours. Palmetto Cards is also a grading submission center for PSA and SGC. Visit PalmettoCards.com or stop by Palmetto Cards and Collectibles, West Main Street in Lexington. Sweet bids are getting sweeter. Sweeter. You're invited to our Cyber Monday Sweet Bids Blowout. Huge discounts on Sweet Bids gift certificates for restaurants, golf, and larger ticket items. Head to sweetbids.com Monday, November 28th. You don't want to miss this opportunity to get these incredible deals. It's our Cyber Monday Sweet Bids Blowout. November 28th at sweetbids.com. It's a short drive on your hard drive with no parking issues.
Attention! Did you or a loved one live at or near Marine Base Camp Lejeune in North Carolina between 1953 and 1987? If so, listen closely for this important legal announcement. From 1953 to 1987, Marines and their family members at Camp Lejeune drank water that was contaminated with hazardous toxins. The toxins found in the water at Camp Lejeune may cause health issues, especially later in life. Types of health issues associated with water at Camp Lejeune are numerous. If you or a loved one lived near Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation without going to court. Even if you were turned down in the past, a new law can allow you to file a claim today. If you or a loved one spent time near Camp Lejeune, call the Negligence Network to find out if you're eligible for financial compensation. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call 1-800-700-4333. That's 1-800-700-4333. 1-800-700-4333.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. John, what are you doing? Get in my car. So why are you walking to work? Thanks, man. It's these insanely high gas prices. They're draining my bank account. I can't afford to drive anymore. Dude, don't walk. Just do what I do because I never pay full price for gas anymore. I use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. Oh, wait. You're telling me you get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app? Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas. Does that actually add up to anything? I'll make around $200. Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FULL for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's promo code FULL. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FULL for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FULL.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
37 minutes after 10 o'clock on a Friday morning, and welcome back into the Extra Point. Pearson Fowler, Wes Mitchell, Chris Clark here with you, talking a lot of rivalry games, especially Carolina Clemson. Happy to be joined now, though, by really the expert, and not just in sandwiches, expert in all things. He helped us pick buy or sell a couple of weeks ago, and he's nice enough to have us out here at the Firehouse Subs location on Garner's Ferry. It's Larry Chandler. How are you, Larry?
I'm doing great. I appreciate y'all being here.
Absolutely.
Always.
How was your
Thank
Thanksgiving?
Awesome. It was. I think I worked harder yesterday though than I have in a while cooking.
That's saying a lot because you work
cooking
very
and
hard.
eating. Yes, cooking and eating.
So cooking and eating and cleaning and Thanksgiving is wonderful, but it's just like constant. So I've encouraged everybody today to just give yourself a break. You don't want to cook anything. You don't want to clean anything. You don't want to do any more dishes. You can just come out here to Firehouse Subs, grab a sub. It's delicious. I walked in here at 8:30 in the morning, and I was like, well, I know they're not open at 8:30. And I was just like immediately hit with the aroma of bread. And I was like, y'all are in here working like all day.
Yeah, we got some catering going out of here. And then, of course, if people don't want turkey, we got great brisket out here. That'll be a nice change up, or a steak sub. I mean, But
you got to sample that prime rib a couple of weeks ago.
That's what I was going to ask about.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
that looks. I have many favorites here. I feel like that's a candidate. I'm just sitting here looking at a picture of it on the wall. It looks like a candidate to take over as the number one, like a prime candidate.
Chris actually has that poster above his bed right now.
Does he really?
Yeah, of the prime.
I want to get one. It looks amazing.
Well, it's been a big hit. It's been a LTO limited time offer for us, but it's been very popular. So who knows? We might end up putting it on a menu.
Well, people are out and about, and of course, the Rapid Rescue to go. Great way to just grab a sandwich while you're on the go, getting any Black Friday shopping in. Want to stop by, and I mean, y'all have a lot of locations here in the Midlands.
Yeah, yes, we have 13 locations.
Wow.
We're getting ready to open one in Orangeburg the second week of December. We're getting ready to open up Friday today week in Dillon. So we start training there on Monday, and pretty excited get that one open, and then a couple weeks later open up Orangeburg.
So pretty much anywhere that you can hear us on a radio station,
Yes.
you're close to a Firehouse Subs, so make sure you stop in and grab a sandwich. So the Carolina-Clemson game is tomorrow. I know this means a whole lot to you and to Carolina fans. And Wes and Chris and I were just talking about how strange it feels like this week has been with Carolina fans seemingly brimming with confidence after the Tennessee game. Clemson fans, another, by their standards, disappointing season. They're probably not going to make the college football playoff. How are you approaching the game tomorrow?
Not super confident, just kind of even keel like I was Saturday against Tennessee. I was just hoping to keep it close till late in the game, and they exceeded my expectations. But that's tough to play up in Clemson. I think they won 40 in a row at home, so that would be unbelievable to break their streak. Break their streak.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool. And I think we got a great chance. I think some things got to go away. We got to stop their run, and they remind me a little bit of Florida, so that scares me a little bit.
So what do you this is something that we talked about a lot this week and haven't exactly figured out how to make sense of. It seems like Marshawn Lloyd is at least healthy enough to try to give it a go. He's probably not going to be 100%, but Carolina had so much success just letting Spencer, just like letting it all hang out. What do you want to see? You want to see a heavy dose of Lloyd or a lot more Spencer tomorrow?
I just think you got to go in, and we have nothing to lose. I think we're playing with house money tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just go out there and just let it loose. And just like similar to Saturday, but I don't expect to score 63 points, but just don't worry about it. Just go have fun, and I think the pressure is more on them than on us. I mean, that's my opinion, but I think just play loose and have fun. So,
that's a phenomenal point. And you could tell that's what it was, like bowl game last year, Tennessee game. You do feel like that those were the two games where Carolina just kind of let it loose. And look, you can say that, but you also have to actually go out there and execute. And as we discussed after the Tennessee game, this entire week in the aftermath of that game, I mean, they executed well. A lot of the concepts that you go back and look on tape and you can say, well, I recognize this. They've run this all year. They just executed it much better. And so totally agree with you, Larry. It is going to be tougher because you're on the road. That brings its own set of challenges. Even if it's not a night game, you'll be going against a Clemson defensive front that's been very, very disruptive. And this South Carolina team, their success offensively and defensively has really kind of come and gone as their success or failures on the offensive and defensive lines have gone. I mean, think about it. Florida, Missouri, you lose the lines of scrimmage, but Texas A&M, Kentucky, Tennessee, you win the lines of scrimmage really on both sides of the ball in those games. So easier said than done, but I think there are some reasons to kind of be intrigued by this matchup. I mean, the performance for South Carolina against Tennessee, you can still recognize that that's not replicable just week to week because of just how crazy it was. But it's also kind of tantalizing because you recognize that Clemson's given up some big plays on their back end. And then if you can just kind of play even up front, Spencer has another really good game. Maybe you get a bonus from Marshawn Lloyd, how much he can do. It is, I keep going back to that word, it's just kind of like very intriguing and tantalizing for Carolina fans.
Well, and he hit on something interesting there. As successful as Carolina was doing pretty much whatever they wanted and scoring a bunch against Tennessee last week, the one thing that we didn't see that's been very consistent with this team is a big special teams play.
Yeah, I thought about that. Yep.
What's the big special teams play lurking for Carolina fans tomorrow?
I don't know. I mean, it could be a kickoff return again. I mean, a block punt would be awesome.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing this week. In the last couple of weeks, they played solid, but we hadn't had that, unbelievable limbo, play. And it's probably going to come out tomorrow, hopefully.
Yeah.
So who knows? We might get a couple of them.
You think we'll see one from Carolina?
I do think so. I do. I think, it might be a punt return too. I know they're going to be worried about us blocking a punt. So that sets up Josh to possibly take one back too. So I think the special teams are huge, as always.
Yeah.
But I think
it's
tomorrow,
happened more often than not. There wasn't a big one in the Tennessee game. There wasn't a big one in the Missouri game. But has there been a big special teams play in every other game this season?
Seems like it. I mean, you even think about Josh had the one called back. You know, I
Right.
mean, he scored a touchdown on a punt return that got called back. I think it was probably a valid penalty from what I remember. But yeah, I mean, they've made a bunch of them. And look, Clemson they have not given a great blueprint of how to beat them because they haven't lost a lot of football games. And this year they've lost just one, but it followed more of the typical like upset formula. We talked about that a little bit on Wednesday. They got a punt blocked for a touchdown. They gave up a 96-yard interception return for a touchdown. They threw another interception that gave Notre Dame a 14-yard field that, gave them another touchdown. So 3 of Notre Dame's touchdowns were off of turnovers. And even in Clemson's performance against Miami last weekend, they won by 30. Miami just terrible on offense, but it kind of illustrated what you can't do. Miami's second offensive play of the game, they had a walk-in touchdown that was an overthrow. And then their quarterback scrambled on third down and got a first down, but it got called back due to penalty. And from there, the route was on. And so they had a chance for an early dash of momentum and points. And that's what South Carolina has to do. Preston said that. We'll know, and I agree with him. I think we'll know very quickly kind of how this game is going to go.
Yeah.
If it's a couple 3-and-outs in a row for South Carolina and Clemson's just dominant up front, and then Clemson does what they've kind of done, methodically scoring, getting Will Shipley involved, short passing game, and they're just moving the chains. That's what you don't want to see. But Clemson's had some issues turning the football over, even in the second half of the Miami game. And can South Carolina take advantage when they have those opportunities?
Yeah.
I don't want to ask you to make a prediction if you don't have one or if you don't want to pick Clemson. I get that, but it's a 14.5-point spread right now. Yeah. Do you expect tomorrow to be competitive?
I do. I really do. I think, last couple years, or last few years hasn't been, but I think tomorrow, for some reason, I feel like it's going to be competitive.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome if we can get to the fourth quarter and be there, and who knows what's going to happen.
Even if it's not exactly programs on different trajectories, it just feels like teams that are Carolina's feeling good about themselves. Clemson, feels like a little bit of another small scale disappointment. They're still the number 8 team in the country, but they expect to be competing for national championships. So it feels like that will, maybe be part of how tomorrow plays out. So, Larry, we appreciate you having us out here. We always love your football takes. Any other predictions or thoughts or anything you want to see on the game before we let you go?
No, I do think it's like Preston said the other day. I think we got to stay early and stay in the game and push them. I think the pressure's not on us. That's just my opinion. Yeah. And they need to win and to keep their playoff hopes alive. And so I'm just hoping we go up there and play loose and put some serious pressure on them.
Yeah, I mean that's a really good point. Let the pressure affect Clemson. Let the pressure be kind of the 12th man, if you will, for South Carolina. Well, he's Larry Chandler. We really appreciate him sponsoring the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, now sponsoring the text line on 107.5 The Game. And, of course, having us out here. If you want to come see us, we'll be out here for a little over an hour at the Garner's Ferry location right across the street from the Verizon store. You can't miss it. Grab a sandwich. You don't want to cook today. You don't want to clean. You've probably done enough dishes. Like my hands are all cracked and dried just from washing dishes. You don't have to worry about that with Firehouse Subs. So get a Rapid Rescue to go or come in. We got a couple people dining in here right now. So just come visit us for the rest of the morning, Larry. Appreciate you as always.
Thank you all so much. Appreciate y'all.
Absolutely. That's Larry Chandler. Appreciate Firehouse Subs for having us out here today on a fun Friday, Black Friday, and of course the Friday before Rivalry weekend kicks off in college football. We'll have some more thoughts on a lot of those games coming up at 11:15 with the Mason-Dixon lines. We'll get back into some more Wes and Chris's thoughts on the Carolina-Clemson game next.
Game time with Heath Klein.
Coach, talk about aggression. I mean, you guys went for it early on your side of the field and fourth down. 12 different guys have a catch tonight. Did you just go in saying basically you got to let it all hang out because of how this team plays? Is that why it looks so different?
Yeah, we always want to be aggressive, Heath. We wanted to be aggressive. And the word we've used all week is just attack. That's just what we talk to our players about. Attack, attack, attack. Our thought process was we got to be aggressive to stay on the field also.
3 to 6 p.m. on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. This basketball season and every basketball season, come to campus and catch a game. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game. Find your tickets online at GamecocksOnline.com.
Ever wonder why your business doesn't show up on online search maps, but your competitors do? It's hundreds of things. Things that Cumulus Boost can identify and fix. And that's how we boost your findability. CumulusBoost.com. CUMULUS Boost.com.
This could be the best Christmas ever. Hi, I'm Travis McNeil. At Oliver Gospel Mission, we are transforming lives at our Men's Center and our Women's and Children's Center, Toby's Place. Your donations make a daily impact as we provide life skills, jobs, and new housing. You can spread hope and joy this holiday season by donating $35 today at olivergospel.org. Let's celebrate Christ this Christmas.
The power of Christ love. The power of Christ love.
Locally owned Atlantic Windows and Doors has been making Columbia area homes more comfortable, attractive, weather-tight, and energy efficient for over 35 years. How? By distributing products from the best window and door manufacturers in the country. These products give you the best looks, the best quality, and the best value, all based on your specific needs. And everything is professionally installed by their dedicated and experienced employees, not subcontractors. Atlantic Windows and Doors. Visit them online at awdsc.com.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code AUTO for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or any gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code AUTO for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code AUTO for 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up. Camden Military Academy. It's probably not what you think. At Camden Military Academy, cadets achieve their untapped potential in academics and life. Hear now one cadet's message to his mother.
I'm very glad that you sent me here. I've learned a lot from this place. I know you work very hard to send me here. I think of you every day. Honestly, I'm just very glad that you sent me here. Thank you.
To learn more, visit CamdenMilitary.com.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Welcome back to the Extra Point, sponsored by Twin Peaks, the ultimate sports lodge, on 1075 The Game.
10:51 Friday morning. Welcome back into the Extra Point. Pearson Fowler, Wes Mitchell, Chris Clark here with you, broadcasting live from Firehouse Subs on Garner's Ferry, right across from the Circle K and Verizon store. About another hour, you can come out, see us, make your prediction for the Carolina-Clemson game. We do still have a few more women's basketball tickets to give away. 3 more, in fact, for the Hampton game on Sunday. South Carolina's first home game back after a long road trip. Maryland, Clemson, Stanford, Cal Poly, the Gamecocks finally back at home. No more UCLA tickets, no more men's basketball tickets. But if you want 3 tickets, and we do have a parking pass for you as well to go see that Hampton game on Sunday, you can come pick up those tickets anytime in the next hour or so. Pick up a sandwich while you're here. And appreciate Larry Chandler, of course, for having us out here, for sponsoring the Gamecock Central Hour, for now sponsoring the text line on 107.5 The Game, 803-404-6100. That's where you can log a lot of your predictions for the game today. Any thoughts? I don't know. How you feeling about it? I mean, really, that's just what I'm trying to gauge more than anything today. It's just, what is Carolina's fan base and Clemson's fan base collective confidence about this game? We talked, I guess, a little bit briefly about it there, but Marshawn Lloyd, it does seem like the indication is that he's going to at least try to play. He's probably not going to be that healthy. I wonder, does that make it easier for the coaching staff to stick with the game plan, knowing that he's not going to be 100% healthy anyway? That you probably couldn't give him 25 carries even if you wanted to?
Yeah, you got to build that in.
Yeah.
But look, you here's the thing. Again, what you did last week is not replicable. Like, if they play Tennessee again tomorrow, you're probably not replicating that. Like I don't think just everything just went right. Now, could they have? What that did show is South Carolina is good enough to have averaged. I mean, I don't know what they're at. Somebody may say, well, they're already averaging that, dummy. But like in SEC games, this could have been a 35-point-a-game team, like based on what they have.
Yeah.
And they've gotten there in some games. I mean, they scored 30 against Arkansas late,
38 against Vandy, 63 against Tennessee.
Yeah. I mean, so it does make me look like a dummy, but but like against Missouri and against Florida, you can't do much of anything. Yeah. So that's kind of more consistency is kind of what that illustrates. But South Carolina did that last week, and they scored those 38 points against Vandy without Marshawn Lloyd.
Yeah.
And so what that does show is that gives you a bonus. So let's say things aren't great and he gets 5 carries.
Right.
I mean, and I don't know, maybe he gets more than that. Maybe he gets less.
Can he just be additive?
Can he be additive, and can he do some Marshawn things, even though he's banged up? So if he gets an open lane, let's say you block up a play really well, whereas maybe Jaheim Bell or Juju McDowell or if it's to carry on Joyner running the football at quarterback, let's say they get 5 to 10 yards on a play. Can he get you 15 or 20?
Yeah.
Can he do, even though he's banged up, can he do what we've seen him do so many times this year, and that is break a ton of tackles? Remember the Missouri game, that metric where he played so many snaps in the first half and he broke more tackles than the rest of the team.
Yeah.
The rest of the game. So can he? I think additive is a really good word. What you get from him will be necessary to win the game, but it'll also kind of be an additive.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to be an X factor in that he's going to be like one of the key players to the game necessarily, but just a couple of those, or even maybe just like that look, just having that threat back there, because I think Clemson's going to know, even with Jaheim Bell back there, it's not like Carolina's running game is particularly scary. Juju McDowell back there, you probably know what you're going to get, an outside run or some kind of passing play. Marshawn at least gives the defense something to consider as long as he's on the field. So it's never bad to get your best player back. The other part that's interesting is, CBS probably still out, I guess, for this game. And in Marshawn, not 100%. You have the season-ending injuries that you're already dealing with. But by and large, after, it seemed like it was just going to be one of those years where everybody for Carolina got hurt. It was the DBs and Strawn and Kaba. It seemed like everybody was just going to be out. Carolina's going to mostly have everybody they need. I've seen a couple people ask this week, Nick Emenwari is going to be able to play in the whole game because the targeting was in the first half. So they are going to be at full strength there, at least compared to what they've been for most of the season. So I know it's the end of the season. Everybody's kind of banged up. But as far as what this team has gotten used to playing with, they're mostly in good shape, which helps.
Yeah, they are. I mean, and look, Strawn and Kaba, all things considered, those are big losses for this defense, because Kaba we've talked a lot about linebacker play this year. Well, he was at least thought of, and we'd have to see, if that turned out to be the case. We only had 1.25 games of a sample size to know, but he was going to be USC's best linebacker this season based on returns, from practice, from the spring, from summer, preseason. He was going to be their best guy. And then Strawn obviously was going to be a starter and could have added a lot more depth to this team, where you have Birch and Edmond playing a ton of snaps this season. And the fact that they've held up and been able to be pretty effective and injury-free and play pretty well for this team.
Yeah.
I think that there was a lot of talk week to week, depending on results. There's a lot of talk about different things. And one thing that I've seen come up a lot is conditioning. I feel like regardless of win or loss record, I think that speaks to the team's conditioning, their lack of depth, and that the fact that you have a 255-pound guy and a 270-pound guy playing 60, 70 snaps week in and week out and able to be effective.
Well, they'll need one more Ironman performance out of those guys tomorrow for sure. More key matchups, more of our players to watch, and more final predictions coming up in the last hour of the Extra Point next.
Celebrating our 15th anniversary is Columbia's Sports Talk Station.
WNKT-FM, Eastover, Columbia.
107.5 The Game.
A Cumulus Media Station.
Join Move Fitness today for only $10. If you're finally ready to drop the extra pounds, get in shape, and feel better, this is the time to act. Don't wait until all the holiday food and fun adds to your waistline. Join today for only $10. Move is the first step to reach your fitness and weight loss goals. Stop by any club or see us on the web at MUVSC.com. Join the movement. See the results. See clubs for full membership details. Expires 11/30/22.
At Atkins Law, we understand the key to teamwork is trust, and we would like to thank all of our clients for trusting us when they've been hurt on the job. We love this community, and it's important to us to make a difference for people right here at home. We are also proud to support the Gamecocks in all their endeavors. Remember, be early and be loud. If you've been hurt on the job, who you hire matters. I'm Holly Atkins. Call us, 803-251-6406.
This could be the best Christmas ever. Hi, I'm Travis McNeil. At Oliver Gospel Mission, we are transforming lives at our Men's Center and our Women's and Children's Center, Toby's Place. Your donations make a daily impact as we provide life skills, jobs, and new housing. You can spread hope and joy this holiday season by donating $35 today at olivergospel.org. Let's celebrate Christ this Christmas.
The power of Christ, the power of Christ.
72-hour after Thanksgiving sale at Galliana Chrysler Jeep Kia on Greystone. Almost every new Chrysler Jeep and Kia priced at invoice. I repeat, invoice pricing on nearly every new Chrysler Jeep and Kia. Qualified buyers put no money down and make no payments for the next 3 months. 0% financing will be available. Plus, current Kia owners get a $500 trade-in bonus. Bring your old car as is. Don't even wash it. We'll take any trade-in. Interested parties should arrive early for best selection. No negotiating will be necessary. Save thousands in minutes. Invoice pricing on almost every new Chrysler Jeep and Kia with no money down and no payments for the next 3 months. Black Friday, Saturday, and Monday only at Galliana Chrysler Jeep Kia on Greystone. I-126 Zoo Exit in Columbia. Call 779-7300 or GallianaSC.com.
Gotta go to Galliana.
Excludes Telluride, Cape 5, and Wrangler. In stock units only. All rebates to dealer. $27.77 per month per thousand borrowed for 36 months at 0% APR with 0 down. Plus tax tag includes $225 closing fee. Negative trade equity financed in new loan subject to lender approval. Expires November 28th.
Kubota tractors have become the go-to tractor for landowners and farmers. Carolina Power Equipment in Casey is the Midland Superstore for Kubota tractors, large and small. Shop and compare the full lineup of Kubota tractors right on site. Hydrostatic and manual transmissions, 4-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive, front-end loaders, and more. Come in today for the products, service, parts, and accessories to help you work smarter, not harder. Carolina Power Equipment, 2490 Charleston Highway in Casey, or visit CarolinaPowerEquipment.com.
This basketball season and every basketball season, come to campus and catch a game. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game. Find your tickets online at GamecocksOnline.com.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. We will never charge above MSRP or take advantage of you with add-ons. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads. Football Friday.
Handoff. Tucker bounces from one, tries to get to the edge.
Getting you ready for the weekend.
Can't get there. I think that's going to be a turnover on downs. What a great stop.
Where your butt will be glued to the couch.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, presented by Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen with Pearson Fowler.
This has been in the works for a while. We're really excited to officially have the Gamecock Central Hour.
Chris Clark.
And JJ has accepted an invite to the Senior Bowl already, which is awesome, the Reese's Senior Bowl.
And Wes Mitchell.
I think he's well above 200 into like the 210 range. A dude in the weight room, too, like from a strength standpoint.
On the home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
2 minutes after 11 o'clock, Friday morning. It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour on 107.5 The Game. Out on location today, Firehouse Subs on Garner's Ferry, right across from Circle K. Verizon just absolutely housed that prime rib steak sandwich that is the Chris Clark. That's the Chris Clark special. They're just going to rename it the Chris Clark.
I was so excited to try it, and it lived up to it plus more, which is kind of hard to do.
You still have a little bit. I literally ate my whole thing in 4 bites.
I know, that was kind of ridiculous.
I just crushed it. Oh my gosh.
I'm hoping I see Wes has another half over there, and I'm kind of hoping he doesn't eat it.
He's about to not have another half. we need to remind Wes that he needs to go to the gym, that he ate a lot yesterday. He was telling me he's like, I got to do some burpees during the breaks to work off yesterday. It's like, yeah, you're right. You don't need that other half of a delicious sandwich. Come pick one up while you're out and about. You don't want to cook today or clean. You did all that in the last 2 days. Rapid Rescue to go. Get it on the app. It'll be ready to go, or you can come and dine in and grab some basketball tickets and talk Carolina Clemson with us for about the next hour or so. We'll talk some of the other big rivalry games from around college football. In about 10 minutes, the Mason-Dixon lines with special guests Chris and Wes. Typically, we do that in the 10 o'clock hour. We're going to have Drew and Wes and Chris making some picks. They'll be our guest pickers for today. More thoughts on Carolina Clemson as well. We were talking about Marshawn Lloyd, who seems like he's going to go. He's not going to be 100%. His will be an additive value for South Carolina. He's not going to be the centerpiece. But, Chris, is there one player or maybe two that you feel like as they go, so go the Gamecocks for good or for ill tomorrow?
We were just talking about this during the break. So I will not dodge your question, but I do have to say that just as a positional group, I think there's some good data that as South Carolina's offensive and defensive lines go, South Carolina goes. Certainly you think about the A&M game, the Kentucky game, the Tennessee game. You know, a huge reason for what South Carolina did last week against Tennessee was the protection was just elite. And on top of that, Spencer Rattler like accentuated that by making, I would argue, probably in every single circumstance, the correct decision to stay in the pocket, step up in the pocket, or bail the pocket. There have been times that year he has not made that accurate of decisions, and so I think he did that. But yeah, a couple come to mind. Number one is Spencer Rattler, right? Making those pocket decisions against what's going to be a very disruptive Clemson front, taking care of the football, but also doing Spencer Rattler things by making some throws that only really he can make as far as guys on this roster, and really throws that not a lot of guys in college football can make. We've seen him do that. We saw him execute a variety of throws against Tennessee, everything from the simple, taking what they give you, to making some really, really good improvisational plays. And I think they'll need all of that on Saturday. Another one, let me give you a wild card. I would say, and I'm thinking in terms of offense with all of these really, especially because my mind is just so on how, yeah, South Carolina needs a strong defensive performance, but bottom line is they got to score some points. I mean, even if they play very well against Clemson, if they come out and don't do anything offensively, they're not going to win this football game. So DeCarrion Joyner, shout out Wes. I'm glad we're able to shoehorn this in here. Wes predicted last week that DeCarrion Joyner was going to have an increased role in the Tennessee game, and we saw that. Joyner played 19 snaps, but the increase in the role was he went from playing 5 snaps at quarterback against Florida to 11 against Tennessee. He had some key runs. He administered the offense very well in terms of some of those look like decisions to make, like option type plays, and then threw the pass to Spencer Rattler. So Clemson's typically pretty good against the run and taking away some certain things that you want to get to. But I think his presence, if they can get some things going with him, and certainly he's looked the best he has all season the past 2 weeks, even against Florida, I think he could be a key player for them.
Wes, one or two players. As they go, so go Carolina's fortunes tomorrow.
I mean, excuse me, Spencer is the easy answer, I think. I mean, like we've talked about, the offense has not been good against Clemson the last couple of years. You go back to a few games ago, you find, if you're looking through the series history, the game where Jake Bentley had, at least statistically, the best game of his career. And I think for South Carolina, it's not going to take that effort, but it is going to take, Rattler to be on his game. He's not going to have to be quite, on fire like he was this past week, but he's going to have to play very, very well, I think. Keep the offense on the field, keep things moving. Maybe if you go to the defensive side, you can talk about some different, I think it's more about units that are going to have to play well on that side versus one particular person. For Carolina, though, I'd like to come up with a better answer, like something that's less obvious, but I think that would be disingenuous. I think Spencer Rattler is the answer. That's the guy who can change the entire complexion of this game compared to what we saw last year, compared to what we've seen South Carolina's offense when they haven't played well versus what they did first half against Vandy and what they did against Tennessee.
So I'm trying too hard if I say that Nate Atkins, because of the additional pass protection, is going to be the difference maker.
I mean, I think that's a key, but I think he's a guy that would just be on that, that next drop down level of where I could start listing. You start listing everybody at that point. Everybody's going to have to play pretty well.
So let me try too hard, but not quite that hard. Is Tonka Hemingway Carolina's best defensive lineman this year?
He's played very well down the stretch, like in the second half of the year.
He didn't play to start the season, which is concerning and confusing.
No, he did play. He
Not
played.
much.
No,
not like he's playing now. He wasn't starting.
He played a pretty good bit. Well, I mean,
he was rotational, and in the Tennessee game, he looked like. I mean, Zach, I thought had a solid game. He looked like the most disruptive of those.
Well, Boogie Huntley had an incredible preseason, so you know, Boogie earned the right to start alongside Zach. I mean, I don't think we need to look at these players as being static. Like you can get better, you can get worse. Tonka has improved, and his playing time has gone up with his improved play. So I think he's arguably been the most disruptive guy down the stretch and has provided some versatility. I mean, it's easy to miss. He still does something they've done to keep his snap count high is he has rolled in there at the edge spot at defensive end at times as well. So when he's not playing on the interior, he's playing out there, you know, sometimes opposite of Gilbert or even Brian Thomas Jr.
And some offensive bias, I guess. A couple of 2-point conversion attempts. He caught the pass on the fake punt. Like he's just been so valuable. The reason I look at someone like him is that, you know, even if Zach has a really good game, you know, by and large, what they're going to be asking Zach to do is unfortunately not the sexy things that you want a defensive lineman to do. He's going to be eating up blocks, trying to fill holes. Tonka has just proven to be, especially the last couple weeks, so consistently disruptive. And when I look at what Carolina needs to do to keep the game, you know, within a reasonable scoring range, slowing down Clemson's rushing defense, you know, Zach's, I mean, they're all going to have to play a big part of that. The linebackers, everyone's going to be very important in that. But I just look as Tonka as the guy that down the stretch has given Carolina the best option or the opportunity to create some of those negative plays or even short gains. I mean, we talked about this sequence earlier in the week against Tennessee, but you know, a Tonka Hemingway sack on first down, the second down play that was a hold, Tonka was being held, and then a third down sack where he beats the right guard, beats the running back, and then has it like one or two of those possessions in a game like this can represent all the difference in the world.
And you know, you can go back and pick out some plays against Kentucky and Texas A&M and those wins that he had. One of them being the helmet section,
recovery, right?
So he's just been really good. And again, not the end all be all, but just to kind of have a data point to back up what we think we've seen. He is, out of the guys that start and or play a lot, he's the highest graded defensive lineman for South Carolina by PFF. Has the highest out of guys that play a lot, he has the highest run defense grade and he has the highest pass rush grade on the team in general. And I think a lot of that probably comes from the Tennessee game and the second half of the season, because he was playing a good bit early in the season. He's seen the snaps go up in the back half, and I think he's earned those.
I think he's going to be huge. We'll talk about some of the other players that'll be important for Carolina to pull the upset as we continue on here in the Gamecock Central Hour, broadcasting live from Firehouse Subs. Right here on Garner's Ferry, 6041 is the address. If it's easier for you, across the street from Circle K and Verizon, come grab a sandwich while you're out doing some shopping, or just if you don't feel like cooking today, which should be most of you, because most people have cooked and cleaned a lot in the last couple of days. Come get a sandwich. We just tried the prime rib steak sandwich. I ate the whole thing in literally 4 bites, which is disgusting. But you know what? I did it. It's okay. Come get a sandwich. There's a lot of good options here. Wes will tell you what his favorite is in just a few minutes. We'll come back to the Carolina-Clemson game, but first it's time to pick some games against the spread, the 5 best. It's rivalry weekend. A lot of fun games on the slate this weekend. We'll pick them in the Mason-Dixon lines coming up next.
More of the Extra Point coming up next on 107.5 The Game.
This is Brandon Tierney with a CBS Sports Minute. Giant fans. Giant fans. Amazing fans. New York City royalty. At least for this year, I feel badly for you. You guys were duped. You took the cheese. I don't blame you. After a decade, for the most part, of nothing, I would have taken the cheese as well. But after a 6-1 start, kind of back to where many of us thought you guys would be coming into the season. Love your coach. Love the direction. But look around. There's nothing out there. Did you really expect to beat Dallas? That's the Giants I thought we'd get. I'll be sick. CBS Sports
When a cold comes on strong, knock it out with Vicks DayQuil Severe for max strength daytime relief. Just 1 dose of Vicks DayQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Power through your day with Vicks DayQuil Severe, the daytime non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, 9 to none medicine. Use as directed.
Craftsman Days at Lowe's are going on now. Get limited time savings across the store like $100 off a V20 6-tool combo kit. Plus, enter the Craftsman Days Ultimate Garage Sweepstakes for a chance to win Craftsman products valued at over $10,000. Learn more at Lowe's.com/Ultimate Garage. Offer valid through 12/31 while supplies last. No purchase necessary. Ends 12/31. Residents of 50 USDC, 18 or older, and age of majority, and have a Lowe's.com account. Void where prohibited. See rules at Lowe's.com/Ultimate Garage for entry instructions, odd prices, etc. Sponsor Lowe's.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be signs that your digestive system isn't working at its best? But taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil supports your daily digestive health using a special plant-based fiber called psyllium. Psyllium works by forming a gel in your digestive system to trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Metamucil's gelling action also helps to promote heart health and slows down sugar absorption to promote healthy blood sugar levels. Start feeling lighter and more energetic by taking Metamucil every day.
When cold symptoms keep you up, try Vicks NyQuil Severe for max strength nighttime relief. Just one dose of Vicks NyQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Get some rest and feel better with Vicks NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, sore throat, stuffy nose, fever, best sleep with a cold. Medicine. Use as directed.
One search engine is used by 9 out of 10 consumers. Hint, the name begins with a G. And there are hundreds of things that go into being ranked highly by that engine. Your website, your business profile, even your social accounts. A couple of slip-ups and you find yourself on page 7. But at Cumulus Boost, we have the experts and resources to fix what's wrong and boost your findability so you can rank higher than your competition. Get started today at cumulusboost.com. CUMULUS boost.com.
We keep the clutter out of your gutter. Call on the gutter man.
Have the fall leaves clogged your gutters? Look for the guys in the powdered blue trucks. Let the guttermen clean them out. The pros at the Gutterman can keep you out of the gutter. Call 803-791-7147 or thegutterman.com.
We keep the clutter out of your gutter. Call on the gutter man.
It's pro time because at Lowe's, it's Provember. Save big with inventory you can count on, like Flex products or DeWalt power tools starting at just $99. Plus, Lowe's MVPs members earn up to 3 times bonus points per dollar on select items. Save all Provember long. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. MVPs Pro Rewards Program terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/L/Pro Loyalty terms. Subject to change. Prices valid from 10/17/22 to 2/3/23 or until supplies last.
At the United States Postal Service, we're here to deliver fast and reliable service to help you get holiday ready. We offer free package pickup and deliver free shipping supplies to your address. So whether you're in Garland, Texas, Rudolph, Wisconsin, or anywhere in between, we're making it easier for you to spread festive cheer this holiday season. USPS, delivering for America. For all your holiday needs, including info about free shipping supplies, free package pickup availability, and restrictions, go to USPS.com/holidays.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, presented by Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen with Pearson Fowler, Chris Clark, and Wes Mitchell on the home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Seventeen minutes after 11 o'clock on a Friday morning. It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour here on 107.5 The Game, and also the Mason-Dixon Lions Week 13. Moved it around. It's been a eventful day here. It's a Friday. It's Black Friday, day after Thanksgiving, on location at Firehouse Subs. Appreciate Drew being flexible and excited to have Wes and Chris as our guest pickers. I know, Chris, you're normally in the studio early, so you get to listen to the segment, and you're an avid listener of the show.
Oh,
which we
absolutely.
appreciate. Wes, not so much. Pretty straight up. We'll pick 5 games against the spread. We have a tiebreaker. Drew will have his lock of the week. And before we get too far down that road, we'll go ahead and welcome in Andrew Mason-Dixon, a.k.a. Dr. Ooh, the good doctor. Doc Drubert into his own segment. Drew, welcome in. How was your Thanksgiving, man?
Oh, Thanksgiving was great. I'm back after partying on the 50-yard line last week. I got a piece of the shrubbery I'm trying to grow in my backyard right now.
You need to talk to White Sauce about that because he's really into bonsai. He might be able to help you with that. You won last week, Drew. You went. Let's see. Did you go 4-1 last week? 3-2. 3-2 last week. Preston was 1-4. I was 3-2. You did win the tiebreaker though. You were 1 yard lower than me in predicting Jalen Hyatt's total yards. He finished with 65. You predicted 120. I went 121. So second to last week of the season. Go ahead and celebrate yet another FaceTime.
Another road trip to Surfside Beach. Another excuse for me to stop at Buc-ee's. I got the Buc-ee fevers. Bringing in the rest of the fam. Since it opened up in May, I've been easily 10 times. Walking into that olfactory overload of barbecue brisket in the air. Totally rocked a full-body Buc-ee suit for Halloween this year. Just crushed my Christmas shopping recently. If you see a 6-foot inflatable Buc-ee beaver Santa in someone's yard, you're surely looking at my parents' house. Everyone who's made some money off my picks this year, just know you can pay me back in Buc-ee nugs. Okay, that's an easily acceptable payment. Thank y'all. Love me, Buc-ee's. Love it.
I have some of those in my pantry right now. But yeah, Drew, your picks have been good this year. 29, 24-2 on the season. I won't tell you what my record is and Preston's record because it doesn't matter. You're the expert here. Let's go ahead and get started. We start with Drew and then we'll go Wes, Chris, and I'll pick last as always. We're getting started in 41 minutes actually. Cincinnati is hosting Tulane, and Cincinnati is a 1-point underdog.
Yeah, winner of Tulane and Cincy on Friday gets a spot in the American Championship game. Both teams relying on their defense for strength this year. Both teams have a top 25 national defense. Ben Bryant had the tough task of replacing Desmond Ridder at quarterback. He's been okay, not great. A lot of Bearcat fans wanted him replaced. Well, they're going to get that wish this week. He hurt his foot last week, and it looks like highly touted recruit Evan Prater, Mr. Football from Ohio, is going to start. Tulane's special year already has had them ranked for the first time in a season since 1998. Cincy has won 32 straight home games, second longest in FBS. Hopefully, they become number one this week. I'm taking Luke Fickell and the Cincy Bearcats.
Wes?
Good pick, Drew. I'm with you. Let's make that streak the longest in college football in FBS. I'll take Cincy. I can't go against Luke Fickell. And who's favored in the game? Do we know for sure?
Yeah, Tulane's a 1 point. I guess Cincinnati was a 1 point favorite earlier in the week. The line switched. Yeah, Tulane's now 1 point favorite.
Yeah, give me Cincy.
Pick them. Chris?
Yeah, I've got, with apologies to my buddy Tad McLeod, Tulane alum, probably listening. I do have to pick the Bearcats, and it is a head pick, not a heart pick. I'll root for Tulane.
This is basically a pick 'em, so maybe not the best time to be pulling up the against the spread stats. But Tulane has not only been good this year at 9-2 straight up, they're also 9-2 against the spread. Cincinnati having a pretty good season, but how about a lowly 3-7-1 against the spread this year? I know we're basically talking about picking winners and losers here, but I like Tulane to win. They've covered more often than not this year. I'm going to roll with the Green Wave -1. Next up, we will go out to Big 12 country where TCU is a 10-point favorite at home against Iowa State.
Yeah, TCU already clinched a spot in the Big 12 championship game, thanks in part to that wild walk-off field goal in Waco last week. Iowa State, 6 losses this year by 1 score, not really winning the close games unlike TCU. This is a battle of the top offense in the conference versus the top defense in the conference. Cyclones D only giving up 105 rushing yards a game. That's first in the Big 12. TCU loves running the ball, over 213 a game. Kendry Miller a little banged up against Baylor, questionable to play. Horned Frogs want him handling the rock. He's rushed for a touchdown in all 11 games that he played this year. Cyclones have Xavier Hutchinson leading the nation in receptions at 105 catches. Max Duggan, an Iowa native, 0-3 in his career versus Iowa State. Only team in the conference he hasn't beaten. Maybe he notches his first win, but I think it's close. I'm going to take Iowa State +10.
Drew is incredibly well researched. Holy cow. I'm just going to go with all of Drew's picks. But no, seriously, I think that line feels big. However, maybe people still thinking a little bit about just how close that game was last week. So I think Vegas knows something here. I think TCU wins the game by a couple of scores, bounce back, have a big day offensively. So I'm going to take TCU -10.
Drew nearly talked me out of my pick. Couple close games the last couple weeks against Texas Tech and Oklahoma State. But I am going to take the Horned Frogs. I've been all over them all year, so I have to stick with them.
Yeah, TCU, they found a way to cover as many close games as they've had, and Vegas has kind of been on the TCU close game thing. It was, overtime against Oklahoma State, the comeback against Kansas State, and then, of course, the wild finish last week with one of the craziest last-second field goals that you will ever see. But, Drew, you stole the stat that I mostly based this pick on, which is that Iowa State rushing defense, as potent as it is, and as much as TCU likes to have their bread buttered there, I think it'll be relatively low scoring. I think Iowa State will be able to at least cover a 10-point spread for a TCU team that just, they're going to be in the college football playoff. It hasn't been especially convincing. They continue to do just enough. I expect them to do the same tomorrow. All right, maybe the biggest game of the weekend outside of course, Carolina, Clemson. We're going to Columbus. Ohio State's at home. 7.5-point favorites against Michigan. Winner is in. Loser, we'll see. Drew, how's this game going to go?
So Michigan hasn't won consecutive games against Ohio State since 1999-2000, okay? Their star running back, Blake Corum, injured against Illinois, should be good to go for the game. He's also rushed for a touchdown in all 11 games this season. Wolverines fourth nationally with 243 rush yards a game. C.J. Stroud, now number 2 in Heisman odds. He's the leader of an offense tied for first with 46.5 points a game. His favorite target, the Biletnikoff favorite, Marvin Harrison Jr., made no shortage of spectacular catches this year on his way to 11 touchdowns, over 1,000 yards receiving. Both these teams have a top 10 defense in total defense and scoring D. Michigan's actually number 1 nationally, giving up 241 yards a game only. Ryan Day and Ohio State missed out on the playoffs last year with that loss to Michigan. I think they get revenge at home. Buckeyes, big, they cover.
Good pick, Drew. For every reason he just said, I'm going to Ohio State.
I am taking Michigan against the spread and straight up. They win the game.
Ooh,
I've been bullish on Michigan all season long. I know Ohio State has the number 1 point differential of any team in the country right now. They are plus 29. Georgia last year, I think, was like plus 24. So they've been, beating people in borderline historic fashion for most of the season. There's something about watching Michigan, though, that just feels a little bit more cohesive. Until last week, until Blake Corum went down, it's been an offense that hadn't beaten themselves, not a high percentage of negative plays. They just find a way to get yards and get first downs and get scores. With Blake Corum probably not 100%, I'm a little more hesitant about this pick, but we've seen Ohio State's offense be slowed down by worse defenses than what Michigan has this year. So I don't feel as good about just a Michigan straight up pick, but getting more than a touchdown here. I at least like the Wolverines to cover plus 7.5 in Columbus. We will go out west for our final 2 games. First up, one of our favorite rivalries, and that is Oregon State plus 3 at home against Oregon.
Yeah, a lot at stake here in the Civil War. Not only, of course, the Platypus Trophy, but also a win, and the Ducks are in the Pac-12 championship game for the 4th straight time. Now, the starting center, Alex Forsythe, he missed the Utah game. He's still questionable to play, but Bo Nix is healthy, and he's leading the nation in completion percentage, 72.2%. Also, run for the most touchdowns of any quarterback this year at 14. Meanwhile, the Beavers, running the ball has been their MO. Freshman running back Damian Martinez, gone for over 100 yards in 5 straight games. When they struggle at running, the Oregon State struggles. You got to look at that Utah game earlier. And Oregon's run defense, 1 spot ahead of Utah nationally in terms of run yards per game allowed. Oregon State only won 9 games in a regular season once over the past 20 seasons. And I think it stays that way. Quack attack cover on the road.
I'm with you. Give me Oregon as well.
Jonathan Smith's done a great job at Oregon State. Great stat there from Drew in terms of how hard it is to win there. Mike Riley got the Nebraska job on the strength of having a losing record at Oregon State just because he did a fairly good job. So tough job, and certainly they've done a really nice job this season. But I do have the Ducks. I really like what they've done after getting blasted by Georgia in week 1.
All right, well, I had Oregon penciled in here, but I'm down like 6 games in the standings, plus everybody's picking Oregon here. So I'm just going to have to go with the points at home in a rivalry game, play the game within the game a little bit. Not what I typically try to do on here, but desperate times call for desperate measures. So I'm going to go ahead and take Oregon State +3 there. And our final game of the weekend, the battle for the jeweled shillelagh, Southern Cal -5 against Notre Dame.
Yeah, decides if you add an Emerald Shamrock or a Ruby Trojan head to that jeweled shillelagh. Southern Cal and Notre Dame enter the contest. Both teams ranked for the first time since 2017, and SoCal still got a legit shot at the playoffs. Caleb Williams is now the Heisman favorite. 40 total touchdowns, put up over 500 yards of total offense last week versus UCLA. And Jordan Addison, after missing a couple games, back to balling out, 11 catches, 178 yards, and a score last week for the Biletnikoff winner last year. Trojans lead the nation in interceptions at 18, and their turnover margin, they got 25 takeaways. They've only given away 4 this year, plus 21. That leads the FBS with second place at plus 14. I mean, by a large margin there. Notre Dame's turned it around after their 0-2 start. Drew Pine, 8-1 is the starting quarterback at Notre Dame. They finally had their 5-game streak of a block punt snap last week. Pine's favorite target, Michael Mayer. It's either him or Brock Bowers. That's the best tight end in the nation. And Mayer's got some size, 6'4", 265. Probably the best defense SoCal faced this year, but they're rolling at the right time. I'm taking the Trojans -5.
I'm going Notre Dame straight up. Give me the dub, the upset. Southern Cal on defense, almost last in the country in 3rd or 4th down success percentage. Also, defensive success rate, pass or run, 100th plus in the country on both sides. Notre Dame's going to stay on the field. They're going to frustrate Southern Cal's offense, and Notre Dame is not only going to get it with the points, but they're going to win the game straight up. And another top 10 college football playoff team goes down this week.
Oh, interesting pick. I'm going to still take the Trojans. Notre Dame has run a little too hot and cold from half to half in the past few weeks. I see maybe a couple mistakes in there. Drew laid out the stats there in terms of takeaways. And Caleb Williams, maybe the best offensive player, certainly one of the best offensive players in college football. When you have a special player like that, he can make a difference. I've got Southern Cal.
Well, Drew was talking about Caleb Williams overtaking C.J. Stroud as the Heisman favorite. Well, Notre Dame had a chance to play C.J. Stroud back when he was the Heisman favorite and held Ohio State to just 21. Notre Dame held Clemson to just 14. They have been able to show out defensively when they've had these marquee games. Southern Cal's offense is outstanding. I don't know if it's better than Ohio State's. I think Notre Dame will be able to at least keep the game close. And like Wes mentioned, some really troubling defensive stats there. I think at least setting up for Notre Dame to keep this thing close. So I'm going to take the Fighting Irish +5 in this one. Tiebreaker, Wes, Chris, we don't pick the Carolina game in this, but we do have a tiebreaker typically related to the Carolina game. So we will go with total points scored between Carolina and Clemson. Drew, how many total points will be scored in the game on Saturday?
Vegas has the over-under 52.5. I kind of like the over, and I'll do it. 69.
Nice. Wes?
Well, it's been a long time since I've been in math class, so I was sitting here trying to add up my predicted thing on Gamecock Central. Give me 57 points.
I did not know that the Vegas over-under was 52.5. I actually feel smarter. I've got 52 points.
Do you really?
In this game.
I have 52 points.
How about that?
Well, what am I supposed to do?
Say 52. Oh, well,
with the tiebreaker.
Well, I did
I'll
go
go
first.
51. I'll go 51 since I'm the low
There you
man.
go.
All right, Drew went 69, Wes 57, Chris 52. I'm 51. Drew, how about a lock of the week for us?
And for the lock this week, I'm asking you, how do you like them apples, or really the Apple Cup? Michael Penix in Washington lead the nation in passing. Washington just rewarded their head coach, Kalen DeBoer, with a contract extension. I think he rewards them with a win over the rival Washington State Cougars. Huskies cover -2.
-2 in the Apple Cup. Yeah, another fantastic rivalry. Drew, I know you like to chase the rivalries in NCAA football because we used to do that together. Another great one, the Apple Cup. Fun weekend of college football. Drew, before we let you go, enjoy the weekend starting with Cincinnati-Tulane in just about 30 minutes. Any words of wisdom?
Hey, last week I told the Gamecocks just to keep it close, and they didn't listen to me. So I'll say it again. Please keep it close.
Oh, man, we'll certainly see. That's Andrew Mason-Dixon. That is the Mason-Dixon Lines Week 13 Rivalry Week edition. Got some picks locked in there. I'll see if I can get Preston's texted in here so we can officially count his for the last week before championship season. That's Mason-Dixon Lines Week 13 in the books. We'll have some more thoughts on Carolina Clemson plus some buy or sell as we wrap things up on the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour next.
More of the Extra Point coming up next on 107.5 The Game. High school coverage on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
You're limping.
Yeah, I know.
Why?
I don't know, but I'm going to have to pass on golf this weekend.
That bad?
Yeah, but different. It's not just painful, but itchy. And they're swollen, too.
Yikes. That sounds like it could be varicose veins. They're not just ugly. Those could be dangerous.
The team at MUSC Health, right here in Columbia, are the experts in treating leg pain and varicose veins in men and women. Let MUSC's expert staff and cutting-edge technology get you back in the game. Go to musc.edu or call 803-365-VEIN for more information.
Hey, Gamecock Nation. Ben Cato from Cato's Power Equipment. Durability and dependability. You've heard Mo Kaba tell you all about the proven and reliable brands of outdoor power equipment we sell at Cato's. But how about affordability? Cato's Power Equipment is proud of their everyday low prices. But November 21st through the 25th is the best time to buy. Our Black Friday sales event features over 100 zero-turn mowers from Ariens, Gravely, and Toro. On sale with up to thousands off. Most mowers are priced just barely over cost. All in-stock steel equipment is also 20% off this week. Closed on Turkey Day. We look forward to seeing you.
You want to be awesome like The Miz? You want to be a champion like me? Whether your game is wrestling or sports betting, you are going to need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook wants you to have fun while staying responsible, so they provide you with all the tools you need to build your personal betting game plan. My Finale lets everyone know when my matches are finished, and time limits in the app let you know how long you've spent and when it's time for a break. You can also control the maximum amount you'd like to place on any single bet by using DraftKings Sportsbook wager limits. And if you ever find yourself needing to hit pause, you can use the cooling off period to lock the app for up to 4 weeks. I practice safe bets, and so should you. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn about all these tools and more.
Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
Cliff had a project he had to get done. He was in a hurry because the game was coming on. He put on his shoes, he put on his socks. Then out the door he went to install a mailbox. He was forgetting something he couldn't quite recall. Then it hit him. I have to make a call. He ran in the house, he grabbed his phone. He quickly dialed 811. His lines are marked so he can dig without flaw. It was fast, free, and easy, and it was also the law. Sponsored by South Carolina 811. Aired by SCBA in this station.
Since 1964, Gateway Supply has been the Midland's leader in plumbing and HVAC supply. And now, of course, they are statewide with more than 15 locations all across South Carolina. Their showrooms are filled with bath and kitchen fixtures from classic to modern styles. Now, tap and touchless faucets. You can even talk to your kitchen sink. See them at Hamrick Street near the Fairgrounds in Williams-Brice or Highway 6 and Whiteford Way in Lexington. Design services, expert advice for customers and contractors alike. Visit them online at gatewaysupply.net.
Hey everyone, this is Jimmy Guthrie from Superior Kia in Orangeburg. Personally inviting you to come out to the Superior Auto Mile, Highway 301 North for some big country savings. Everyone knows that out in the country, everything costs less, land costs less, houses cost less, and at Superior Kia in Orangeburg, new Kias cost less. But don't take my word for it. Go to SuperiorMotorsKia.com and see for yourself. Don't forget to click to unlock the deal of the day. Most importantly, at Superior Kia, we don't go to the big city auctions to buy cars. We'd rather buy local trade-ins from local people like you. That's why we price our new Kias so low. It's a win-win for everyone. You get a great deal on a new Kia, and we get our hands on a quality pre-owned trade-in. So if you want the best car at the best price with the best experience, you got to come out to the Superior Auto Mile, Highway 301 North for some big country savings.
Remember, that's SuperiorMotorsKia.com. Located on the Superior Auto Mile, Highway 301 North in Orangeburg.
It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, presented by Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen with Pearson Fowler, Chris Clark, and Wes Mitchell on the home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
11:38 Friday morning. Welcome back into the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, live from Firehouse Subs on Garner's Ferry. Pearson, Wes, Chris here with you. Thanks again to Drew. Mason-Dixon line's a little bit later, but hope you got your picks in. Hope you've been picking with Drew, because if you've picked with Drew in the last 5 years, you're probably like 30 games over 500. It's been a little bit of a down year for him, but he's still 5 games over 500, 29, 24, and 2. If you missed those picks, they'll be up on the podcast page later, 1075thegame.com. Have some buy or sell coming up, not quite now. Final thoughts, though. Final thoughts-ish on this Carolina-Clemson game. We've spent most of the week just saying, I don't know. What team's going to show up?
Are we doing buy or sell next segment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we'll have a special guest for that. We've had a lot of special guests today. It's been it's a fun show. It's a Friday. We're at Firehouse Subs. Are you more concerned with Carolina's ability to score points on Clemson's defense, or are you more concerned with Carolina's ability to turn in a defensive performance that would see them be able to win the rivalry game on the road?
I think it's score points against Clemson's defense.
Okay.
And to be clear, there's not some huge gap between that, because some of what Clemson is going to do well is on offense is what Carolina struggled with on defense, namely just run defense. And then you think about the fact that Clemson's quarterback can get you the short, tough yards. They'll do some quarterback draw. They'll do RPO stuff where he's running the football. He's tough to get down in the open field.
He's basically the same size as Gilbert Edmond, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, he trimmed down a little bit in the offseason, but I think he's still 240, something like that. I mean, Gilbert's a little bit, he's 255 or 250 or something like that. But yeah, TJ's a huge guy. And so he's that type of guy that at the line of scrimmage, you can hit him. Okay, they got him hemmed in, and he falls forward for 3 yards, and that can be a problem. And then you think about how South Carolina struggled with KJ Jefferson and the struggles in the Florida game. Heck, even the struggles, different type of runner, but Brady Cook from Missouri. It's kind of alarming. And then Will Shipley, right? Like how they get him the football in space, how they administer the short passing game on offense. You just get the feel that South Carolina could get stuck in a situation where Clemson's getting 5 or 6 yards on first down, and then they're just driving the field methodically.
So you started this by saying you're more concerned about Carolina's offense.
Well, and I'm outlining that. But here's the problem is that even given that, it's not like this Clemson offense has been incredible.
Right.
Like, look back at the Missouri game last week. Oh, my gosh, Clemson scored 40. But they did that on a lot of short fields. Yeah, on Miami. Miami's terrible on offense. They played terrible. Clemson had a lot of short fields in that game. They still didn't play great offensively. And this has not been the Clemson offense that we saw when they were, when they won the national title in 2016 and 18. They're not. Antonio Williams, who's a freshman, is, in my opinion, their best and most dangerous receiver. They don't have the guys. They still have a lot of talent on the outside, but they don't have the guys that they did, right? And so they're not quite as talented on offense as we've been accustomed to. So I think you can play fairly well against Clemson defensively if you're South Carolina and still lose if you don't put up the amount of points that you're going to need. And that becomes more challenging because Clemson's front is really, really good, I think. Very disruptive. They're getting Brian Breezy back this week, unfortunately for South Carolina. He can be super disruptive. Lots of talent, lots of depth up there. Their linebackers can really run with Trenton Simpson, number 22. So I think that's the biggest issue, especially because you've seen when South Carolina, when it's gone bad offensively for them, just how disruptive some other defenses have been for them.
So Clemson scored more than 40 points 3 times, but it was against Georgia Tech, it was against Louisiana Tech, and then it was that double overtime game against Wake Forest. I'm looking up and down. We talked about some comp games, the Jake Bentley game where Carolina just opened it up. I'm looking at some of the more contemporary games. Wes, what's a team that you feel like is comparable to South Carolina? Are the Gamecocks as good as Florida State? Are they closer to Syracuse? Are they closer to Wake Forest? These have all been close games for Clemson. I'm
Depends on which one shows up.
Of all those teams,
yeah.
Right?
I don't know, man. This to me, this comes all the way back around to the offense. Clemson's going to have success running the football. I think that's kind of a given. I was talking to Will, who writes for our site on the analytics side, and more of a team that is run before contact or after contact. A lot of what they do offensively is based on Shipley making people miss and giving him enough room to where, not that this is an offensive line that is bad, but I don't think they're an elite offensive line. A lot of it is giving him enough space to operate. So I think this is once again a game where South Carolina's ability to tackle, keep it short yard, keep it, even if they are staying on the field. And even if it feels a little bit like Arkansas for part of that game, as far as the running game goes, can you limit their explosive plays the way you did Tennessee, even though they're different offenses? I think that's a big key. Then to me, if they can do that, then it shifts all the way back to the offensive side for South Carolina. Can they move the ball, which is something, as you pointed out, South Carolina has not done in this game the last two iterations of this rivalry? Can they do that? If they do that, then this game will be in the balance going into the fourth quarter. And then I think the confidence on the Carolina sideline skyrockets if that happens.
Well, so last thing on that, and then we got some buy or sell coming up in just a minute. Carolina has not had a lead change in SEC play. This is effectively an SEC game. Clemson's at home. Clemson has also played in some close games. They 17-point comeback against Syracuse, the 2 overtime win against Wake Forest. It felt like they could have lost that game, but they found a way to win it. Carolina hasn't really played a whole lot of close games this year. Is that advantage Clemson then?
I think so. From the standpoint of South Carolina, look, they've got to start early. Like, you think about their wins and losses. Like I was talking about, this team comes and goes as the lines of scrimmage go, but it's also been a theme with their starts, right? They start poorly. They typically have not won the game. They start well. They typically do win the game, whether it's hanging on or being able to kind of run away with it.
What was the final score of the A&M game?
30-24.
Is that the only single-digit margin they've played?
That would have to be accurate. Let's see. Yep. Kentucky was a 10-point game. Yeah, it's 30-24 against Texas A&M.
So the only final score that's been within single digits was the Texas A&M game.
Because Vandy was 11.
Yep. That's wild. If Carolina wins, it's probably going to look more like last week than some last-second field goal kind of effort.
I think it's more of a wash. I think Clemson is comfortable, obviously, playing in close games, but I don't know if we can put into words the level of confidence I think that would add to the Carolina sideline if they are in this game.
Right.
I think
just because the pressure is then on Clemson.
The pressure is on Clemson, and this game has not been close since 2015. So I think it shifts a little bit. Clemson is going to go into this game. They expect to win this game. It is a business. It's not a business trip because they're at home, but it is a business. It's a work day.
They'll take a trip around the stadium in their bus.
Yeah, they do ride around the stadium in their bus before they run down a hill.
Miles.
So this is a business. This is a work day for Clemson. I think if it goes into the fourth quarter and it's tight, then yes, Clemson is going to be comfortable in close games, and yes, that could be an advantage in some ways. But I think the confidence on the Carolina sideline will be really, really high when you take a look at the fact they're coming off of a great game, obviously, and they would now be in a position to knock off their rival.
Final predictions before the Carolina-Clemson game with some buy or sell with a special guest coming up next.
The Halftime Show with Jay Phillips and Terry Ford.
Noon to 3.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
This basketball season and every basketball season, come to campus and catch a game. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game. Find your tickets online at GamecockSonline.com.
I'm here with Jacob Crowder, known to our listeners as the mortgage guru. We're all hearing about mortgage rates right now. Jacob, what's the market telling you?
Now more than ever, it's important to know your mortgage banker. When working in a volatile market, it's important to be well-informed and have the ability to move quickly. Working with a local bank gives you access to bank products and superior service. Here at First Palmetto, we have your best interest at heart and have the ability to get the job done. Call me today, 803-719-1005, or email me at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com.
It's good stuff, Jacob. Tell me more.
We are still seeing a competitive purchase market. Having a strong pre-qualification from a local bank goes a long way with a tight market. With housing supply still being minimal, we're doing a lot of construction loans. If you're looking to buy land and build on it, or if you're looking to build on land you already have, we're a great resource for construction loans. Call us today to discuss how we can help you. 803-719-1005 or email at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com.
In times like these, you need an expert. Call the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder, 803-719-1005.
First Palmetto Bank is an equal housing lender, a member of FDIC, and all loans are subject to approval. My NMLS number is 198432.
Hey everyone, this is Jimmy Guthrie from Superior Kia in Orangeburg. Personally inviting you to come out to the Superior Auto Mile, Highway 301 North for some big country savings. Everyone knows that out in the country, everything costs less, land costs less, houses cost less, and at Superior Kia in Orangeburg, new Kias cost less. But don't take my word for it. Go to SuperiorMotorsKia.com and see for yourself. Don't forget to click to unlock the deal of the day. Most importantly, at Superior Kia, we don't go to the big city auctions to buy cars. We'd rather buy local trade-ins from local people like you. That's why we price our new Kias so low. It's a win-win for everyone. You get a great deal on a new Kia, and we get our hands on a quality pre-owned trade-in. So if you want the best car at the best price with the best experience, you got to come out to the Superior Auto Mile, Highway 301 North for some big country savings.
Remember, that's SuperiorMotorsKia.com. Located on the Superior Auto Mile, Highway 301 North in Orangeburg.
There's nothing like hearing the songs you love on local radio with no subscriptions and no monthly fees. But there's a new bill in Congress that could stop the music. If passed, this bill would tax your local radio station simply to play the music you love. Text LOCAL to 52886 and ask Congress to support local radio stations. Help us keep you connected to the music, local news, weather, and traffic that you need each day. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
New Gillette Intimate gives guys a gentle and easy shave on there, and around there, and even under there. Don't treat your groin like junk. Respect it with Gillette Intimate, the best a man can get. Buy now at Walmart.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour. Presented by Firehouse Subs. Founded by firemen with Pearson Fowler, Chris Clark, and Wes Mitchell. On the home of the Gamecocks. 1075 The Game.
Nine minutes in front of noon on a Friday morning, Football Friday. And Wes, Chris, Pearson here with the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, broadcasting live. Just a couple minutes left here from Firehouse Subs on Garner's Ferry, right across from Circle K and Verizon. Seen a bunch of people that have come by. Appreciate everybody listening, coming by to say hey, including someone that used to play cards with Wes freshman year, including my grandmother. Shout out, Nana. Thanks for listening. Thanks for coming by. It's been a really, really fun afternoon here. Got England, USA coming up at 2. Iran took care of Wales. Shock result. Like, I was cheering for it because I'm like, all right. I'm really cheering for a draw, but I was like, cool. And then now I'm like, wait a second. Maybe it's just going to be tougher for USA to beat Iran. Okay, there's your World Cup talk for the day. Carolina and Clemson, rivalry weekend. It's just, I mean, it's a great, great, great weekend. Going to be fun. Hope y'all enjoy it. Time to get to some buy or sell with special guest Kendall Smith. Hey, Kendall. Oh, no, she's not here. No, just kidding. She was going to come on, but then she didn't. She wasn't.
No, Kendall Walsh was going to join us.
Oh, Kendall Walsh was going to join us. Oh.
Yes.
Well, Kendall Smith comes on the show sometimes, and she's done by herself with us. Obviously, Kendall Walsh sponsors it. This whole time, I thought you said Kendall Smith was coming on. Either way.
So, shout out to Kendall. Hopefully, she's listening on the radio right now. She had part of her family Thanksgiving got pushed to today, but Kendall was going to make it work where she was going to call in. But then it didn't work.
Well, she was good luck for everybody last week.
Yes, we were trying to get her in here because now if Carolina loses, y'all can call Kendall Walsh not only about houses, but you can call her and blame her for the Gamecocks loss tomorrow if they lose. But that number is 803-414-1230. 3590. Kendall Walsh of the Moore Company, workwithwalsh@gmail.com. Also at workwithwalsh. That's on Twitter. That's on Instagram. Many of you in this area maybe already know Kendall. She used to be with the Gamecock Club. She's a huge Gamecock fan. She helped walk me and my fiance through the home buying process. She also helped my future mother-in-law sell her house. So whichever way, if you're buying or selling or both, give Kendall a call, 803-414-3590. She will walk you through that process.
What are we buying?
We're buying or we're selling, and we will start with Marshawn Lloyd. 6 touches against the Clemson Tigers tomorrow. So obviously still up in the air whether Marshawn Lloyd will go or not. I will say this, and coaches are inherently there's not a lot of information out on injuries these days. It's not like the NFL where you have to give an injury report. But I actually, guys, am going to buy Lloyd with 6 touches or more.
I will buy. Not buy a lot. I don't think it's going to be a 25-touch game for Marshawn, but I will buy.
I don't think that he can play and have fewer than 5 or 6 touches. Just the impact that he has. If he's healthy enough to be on the field, Carolina will at least have to try to get him the ball a couple of times early. I just can't imagine any scenario where he's in a game and doesn't get at least 6 touches. So I'll buy that as well.
All right. I believe Pearson came up with this one. Carolina non-offensive score against the Tigers. Anybody feeling particularly strongly about this one?
Let's get weird. Buy a non-offensive score for South Carolina.
You want to get more specific?
I was thinking about it in my head and trying to visualize it.
Safety?
Nope. Let's go pick 6.
Oh.
All right. Let's go ahead. Who?
Oh, my goodness. Let's go Cam Smith, pick 6.
Wow.
All right. If you get all that right, you're an automatic winner.
I agree.
I do have this weird feeling
That's
that
what
this
I've got.
game is going to be just strange.
Yep.
However, I'm going to play the percentages and sell it.
Got to risk it to get the biscuit, my friend. Kai Kroger, long punt. Pins Clemson deep. 3 and out. Block punt out of the back of the end zone, but it's a safety, not a touchdown.
Okay.
I like the
with 11
specifics.
minutes and 13 seconds to go in the no. I'll buy it.
All right, South Carolina will have more total yardage than the Clemson Tigers.
Buy.
Pearson with the buy.
Me with the buy.
Christopher.
I feel backwards. I'm
feel backwards.
I'm gonna buy it. I really am.
I'm gonna sell it.
Make sense?
I have a reason, but I'll save it. I'll save it.
Are we about to pick the Gamecocks? Like, are all of us?
Are we finished with those?
We're not. I'm just teasing. We're almost finished with the show. Actually, I need to hurry this up. Will Shipley rushes for 100. I'm gonna on the fly change it. 113 yards or more.
He has gone over that in 3 games this year. Louisiana
I'm trying
Tech,
to get y'all to really think
FSU,
about this.
and Syracuse. Two of their better opponents. 113.
I'm buying, by the way. Go
Buy.
ahead and get that out of the way.
I'll buy.
How many games does he have of 20-plus carries this year?
He has 20 carries exactly in 2 games and 27 in another. So 3
Buy.
if you want to say it.
They're gonna have to feed him.
Okay, Will Shipley rushes for 120 yards. How high does it have to go for y'all to sell?
Probably like 130.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
All
would
right.
think.
We're not playing that game. All right, we're about out of time, y'all. I was gonna say, all right, covers. South Carolina covers 14.5. Is everybody buying?
I'll buy a cover.
Buy.
I'll buy a
Okay.
cover.
All right. We'll take it forward. South Carolina ends the streak against Clemson and wins the game.
28-24, 52-point total. Vegas was 52.5. South Carolina finds a way to get it done.
I'm buying as well.
Selling. About Clemson 31-21. Carolina's only won they won the turnover margin in 2 SEC games. More often than not, that's been an issue. They were very clean last week against Tennessee. If that's replicable, they'll pull the upset. Based on what I've seen for most of the season, I feel like it's not replicable. They might outgain them, might have some big plays. I feel like turnovers, unfortunately, are going to be the story in this game. That's buy or sell. That's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour. That's a full 3 hours of the extra point here at Firehouse Subs. Appreciate the great folks at Firehouse and Larry Chandler, who's on with us in the 10 o'clock hour, for having us out here. Gave us a nice little sandwich sampler. I'm about to grab another sandwich before I go home and watch USA England. Really, thank you all so much for being a part of the show. Everyone that's come out to say hey, to grab some basketball tickets. Hope you all have a great weekend, a safe weekend, and we will be back to talk to you